You don't exist. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowed like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look at better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheap again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 6th part of What If Deku Enters Welcome to Demon School. Special note, this fanfic is written in a masterpiece of 616 MCU and Hazzard Overflow on FANFICTIONnet and AO3. Do check and support the authors too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Izuku, I'm beginning to remember why I initially hated you. Yeah, I hate me too. Introducing the opening act of the night. The crowd murmured as they heard this announcement. Oh boy, everyone was getting excited for the game. Ha, this is way more fun than hide and seek. Istring and her were in matching clothes. It was the first time that she liked her a little more than she usually did, which was surprisingly not a lot for some reason. Izuku, promise me this, after this show we take this moment to our graves. Az muttered with a frowny face and foggy eyes. You read my mind you read my mind? Izuku-kins grumbled. Boo, you need to smile more, Izuku-kins. That's why she invited him to join her. That, and she's only good at singing with other people most of the time, but they didn't need to know that. I hope I don't regret this. Relax, Izu, you'll be fine. Istring smiled teasingly. She was a lot more playful to him right now, but not in a way that made her want to bring out her axe. You want everyone to smile, this is just the best way to do it for now, and I'll be here to help you if you mess up. No fair, she's copying myheroacademia too. Speak for yourself, I feel constricted in this outfit. Spoke Dragon Lady, in a tight and big dress. She wanted something to draw attention away from the top, and she got it. How did I get roped into this again? We're Izuku's friends. That made this inevitable. As said. If the truth gets out about this to anyone, I'm burning down the dome and then Beyblades. And I won't stop you. Now something we really need to work on is Dragon Lady got interrupted as they finally made their way on stage. The crowd got really quiet and began talking quietly. Rude. Fine then, she'd start. Hi there everyone. We're Izumi and her merry band of friends. Clara got them started, and everyone looked so confused. Ha, surprises were the best. I'm the forest fairy. Clarine, give me all your snacks, or I'm going to eat you, she yelled to the crowd, putting all her years as the cardboard monster of the Valak home to good use. Rar, rar, she rolled all over the stage. She had them all speechless, perfectly set up. Now for Istring. And I'm Ilia, the girl from another world. I come to teach you so many things you'll never get me out of your head. She spoke, giving a cute pose that looked like she was playing with invisible glasses. The crowd's interest grew. Yay, all that time playing with Izuku-kin's notes was starting to work for Istring. Hi, I'm the slightly cold but shy Alice. And I'm doing well, I guess. Az shook and spoke a lot like Izuku-kin's used to, and the crowd ate it up like candy, finding it cute. And I will set your hearts ablaze with my red-hot flames. He gave heart gestures and shot out pink fire in the shape of hearts. Kapow. I'm Gata, and I'm the maiden who needs to be rescued from the evil princess. Do you dare have the courage to seek after me? Dragon Lady was getting into it too. Now they're having fun. And the crowds are going wild too, screaming with joy. If this doesn't work, I'm going to jump off a roof. Izuku-kins muttered to himself to where only the ones on the stage could hear him. Hey everyone, I'm the anxious and mysterious Izumi. My height, weight, and personal info are all top secret. Good luck figuring it out. Dem doll of mystery, Izumi shall shine the way. Izuku-kins got the biggest reaction. Everyone was already super curious about her. She wasn't going to forget today, and she'll make sure no one else did either. Now we'll dance and sing, so smile up everyone, Clara, or Clarine, shouted to the crowd ahead of them. They ate it up, roaring with excitement in large doses that drowned out most sounds. Az did a lot of the showy stuff with his fire. Now let's whoa, Izuku-kins dodged a bolt of colorful fire being tossed his way. Hey, be careful, someone could get hurt, Izumi squealed in their high-pitched voice. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so terribly nervous. The crowd exclaimed joy at Alice's nervousness, even as a small and quick smirk was sent Izumi's way. "I'm afraid my aim is a bit off today. Please don't get mad." The crowd ate up the pleading look. String was taking the stage with a dance that captivated everyone, looking like a weird mix of rave and the ballroom stuff as she twirled around everyone really fast and easy. She's gotta learn how to dance like that. "Don't worry, Izumi. My mythical dance of the stars shall aid in your evasion." Ilia took Izumi by the hand and began spinning around with her. "We're safe together, alone." No fair, she needed a part with Izumi. "Better look out. Bubble bubble sparkly shining sun." She summoned bubbles that clashed with Alice's fire, creating rainbow sparks that forced the dancing pair to separate from each other, Izumi spinning rapidly out of control and into Clarine's arms. She could see a faint red on her face, cheeks flushed, before Ilia spun them both around in her arms. This game was so fun, they should play again sometime. Even Gato was joining in on the fun, holding Alice in the air and rapidly spinning her around, creating what could only be described as a rainbow tornado. "All right, let's light it up." Izumi turned to SWCH on his ring and created a similar-looking tornado, before letting it go off in a tiny boom, spreading candy and confetti all over the crowd. "They're so cool. I'd totally cuddle that Alice chick. Clarine is so cute." Soon all of their names were shouted, Izumi's being the loudest. And suddenly all the fire and sparkles in the air froze over. A chill took over the stage. "And who gave you young ladies the right to take over my show?" She couldn't believe it. After everything she did to him, after threatening to kill him, to send him to the darkest pits of hell, he still did all of this? Why? What was the point of going out of his way? It couldn't have been for glory. That outfit was ridiculous, and he'd be the laughing stock of the netherworld if the truth of Izumi's identity came out. She could only stare gaping at the scene of them all chaotically dancing before her, Manager Marbos standing right beside her as they both watched from the sidelines. "Well, you were right about him being crazy, I can tell you that much. Thrill Seeker Glory Hound, not so much." "Did they even explain why?" Kirimu spoke softly. "No. Midoriya ran off as soon as you fainted the second time. Then they sent a paper airplane of all things to the announcer, saying that an opening act would be coming out. They really need better coordination, and I'm not just talking about the dancing. I'm pretty sure they're making everything up as they go." Her point could be proven with Alice and Clarine getting into a mock battle of fire and bubbles. At least she thought it was fake. "Why? I didn't even ask for his help." She recalled her earlier conversation with the honor student about what he thought being a hero meant. "I know it isn't that simple. There's work to be done. Some of it probably would take years, but I don't just have to wait for some villain to try and hurt people. I can just start by reaching out my hand to help someone." Maybe he just wanted to help. Looks like he can't help but butt into other people's situations. Marbos shrugged, giving a slight smile to the whole situation at hand. You don't see many demons going out of their way, especially to ridiculous extremes like this, just to help someone who hates them. Yeah, they hate him, but he doesn't hate them. She recalled the first ranking exam, his gut spilling to Asmodeus, how they went from rivals to companions after what sounded like a whole series of misunderstandings. He takes the spotlight, because it's the only way he knows how to help others. He takes center stage, for the sake of others. Wasn't that exactly what she did? Were they the same? So then, what is the great Kirimu going to do about this whole situation? Her manager teased her. She was silent for a few moments, before she put on the wig and cracked her fingers. She's going to show them what it means to really dance. With a quick work of her magic, ice filled the stages, stopping the sparks in their place. "And who gave you young ladies the right to take over my show?" she announced to Izumi and her crew, along with the entire audience. Said audience looked more hyped than ever as she walked down to the group, heels clacking with every step she took. "Sorry, just trying to help. We can get off now since you're up," Izumi explained for everyone, already turning her back on her. Oh, did they think they were getting off with half-butt commitment? No, my little sisters won't be done with just one small performance. She grabbed her shoulder. "We have a show to complete." "Kori, for real, I'm glad you're better." Izuku spoke only to her, making sure no one else could eavesdrop. "But are you sure? This is your show, and Clara's the only one with singing experience." Okay, that explains a lot of the performance, though if that's all the skill they had when bringing this show to life, then maybe they had more talent than she gave them credit for. There's nothing to worry about, little listeners, it's all in the showmanship. She waved to the crowd, getting him to do the same. Besides, where's the proud demon who wanted to give everyone here a smile? A little shock came to him, before turning the little fear she saw in him into determination. All right then, guys, he turned to the others. Ready to go beyond. Plus ultra, they quietly chanted, raising their fists up. She grabbed the extended hand of Izumi, moving her into a cute pose. Here we go. Demons should never let their guard down. One day, you'll get your heart stolen, squee. Even with his clear lack of experience when it came to dancing, Izuku was actually able to follow along with her movements pretty well, almost copying it verbatim like she was in front of a mirror. And apparently he was able to learn the song pretty quickly, given that this was his first Demdoll concert. That cutie over there is a little imp. Want to touch my hair? Let's have a thrilling escape. Asmadus was on her side of the stage, keeping the air lit with fire as Clara was on Izuku's, banging on bongos playfully. It was sheer coincidence that she banged them to the beat of the music. Want to talk to me? Want to touch me? If you insist, I'll play with you. Inko and Gakko, apparently the two latest additions to the Calamity cult, stuck with each other at the top of the stage, the dragon throwing the blonde demoness in the air as she did little flips and poses. Looks like Izuku found his match in the danger junkie category. Do you love me? Well, try to see through me. Can you give up your soul for me? Little imp, I'll be the imp that drags you around, little imp. The nervousness on the honor student's face seemed much more apparent, all the shaking and twitching as he tried to keep up with her speed, and the crowd was eating it up like the candy Clarine was throwing. Demons always make the first move to get the victory. I'll take one look at you, and you're all mine, nom. Kirimu was not a demon to let a good opportunity go to waste. The crowd found this cute quintet cute, so she would capitalize on it as much as possible if she ever needed them. She'd put a pin in it for later if she ever needed help for the Demdoll games. Yes, I'm a cute little imp. If I reach my hand out, I think I can reach. Getting impatient, aren't we? I won't let you go. I won't let you get away. I'm selfish, so I want all of you. Izuku reached out his hand to help her, completely selflessly. A concept that seemed almost non-existent in the world at times. Hell, her own ambition was selfish, to be the best Demdoll and stick it to her family. But to make someone happy for the sake of making them just feel better, there was an odd charm to it that she couldn't deny. You like me? I know, that was obvious. I'm sure you'd give up your heart for me. Little imp, be the one who makes me turn around, little imp. As they both bowed to the stage, there was a strange feeling inside she didn't think would happen around this green-haired maniac. She felt oddly proud of him, like an older sister would to her little brother. Odevi, she should probably start paying attention to her little sister. See if she wanted to see a couple of concerts in person. It was by far the most bold and embarrassing stunt Izuku had ever done in his life. Absolutely nothing compared to it, not even the humiliation of being outed as quirkless when he was 4 in front of his entire class. He never envied the fairer sec for anything, and that fact wasn't going to end anytime soon. He was glad to help someone, so he'd rather everyone just forget about Izumi altogether. The only problem was that no one else wanted to forget about her. Hey Midoriya, which of the girls was your favorite? Personally, I find that Izumi girl pretty cute. Lied asked him. Ugh, it was bad enough with the rumors around him and Az. I like to think Alice had that shy, cuddly feel to them. Elizabeth spoke with a smile. Az had a coughing fit once he heard her and proceeded to walk towards the nearest dark corner. He wished he could do the same, but he was the only one preventing Clara from blabbering the truth at the moment. It's weird. I find them pretty, but I don't feel any arousal from these images. Well, besides Ilia and Gata, but the rest just don't give me the warm and fuzzy feeling like most women. Kamui spoke out. Clara looked angry, but she was pacified when he placed a spinning top in front of her. Kori then walked over to them, sitting down. I want to thank you guys. If it wasn't for you, that concert would have ended in a disaster. She said to him only because Az was still in his corner while Clara was too distracted, eating one of the newspapers for some reason. Probably the only time she could thank them all without outing herself. Don't mention it. Please, for the love of Devi, don't ever mention it again. Izuku laid his head on his desk in mental exhaustion. That was the most socially excruciating experience I've ever had in my life, and I want to forget everything about it. Inko taking a million pictures of them didn't help matters, but at least she got some spotlight on her for all their troubles. If you can't be the center of attention of a few million people, what do you expect to do about the billions? She smirked at him. Millions? How far did this thing go? He just hoped his family never saw it. Seriously, I'm sorry for freezing you, and trying to kill you, and making voodoo dolls of you so I could have ripped off your head. My life has been threatened so many times at this point, that hardly registers as a threat. Also, he's read in a book somewhere that the voodoo caster in question had to know what they were cursing, so as long as she never knew he was human, he was safe. At the very least you kept it behind the scenes most of the time, usually it's right in my face. Like Kachin, or Az, or Sabro, or Birds, or Kiriwo was an odd mix all in all honesty. That somehow makes me feel both worse and better. Kori groaned. I could help you with that. Maybe a few appearances with Kirimu would make people forget about the danger junkie part. No need to do anything. What's done is done. I'll make things better on my own time. He looked at the misfits. It's not like my reputation has prevented me from making friends, so it's not all bad. Gotta say, Kirimu was still the best part though. Jazz called out as the duo turned back to the conversation at hand. Most assured, talent beyond talent and strong work for years shone forth. Goman said with a nod. I've used all the money I was saving for the newest lame boy, and I don't regret it, Lied proudly announced. Guess Kirimu finally made the headlines, just like you wanted. Izuku pointed to today's paper, though it was a picture of both him and Kori together. Sorry that you had to share it though. Kori sent him a smile. Yeah, I don't feel so bad about sharing it this time. I'll just surpass it when the next headline shows up. She hid herself behind the paper, making sure to go an extra level of unnoticeable. And even if you don't want to keep the Demdoll lifestyle, I'd like us to be friends, if that's all right with you. Izuku sent her a smile. I'd like that too, Kori. Well, that was one less person who hated his guts. Just, if you want to keep going unnoticed, you might want to wear a different disguise around us. Common sense and reality kinda lose meaning around in our group. Oh please, I know I gave you guys a strong time, but I doubt things are that bad. Kori was cut off by a hand on her mouth, courtesy of an Az that blazed across the room faster than he had any right to be. Don't tempt fate. She's a cruel MSTRS with a sick sense of humor. As he said this, Clara came up from behind them with a paper and a pencil. Hey Izuku-kins, come sign the petition for the return of Izumi and her merry friends. The silence of the group was astounding in that moment as Kori gave a minor twitch. Oh, I'll sign. This time it wasn't Izuku, but Kori, who caused a commotion by freezing the girl solid. Kori, what was that for? I wasn't going to take it seriously. Sorry, I still have a bunch of stress building up. Need to relieve my evil cycle and all that. She gave a curious look. Are you actually planning on destroying the school though? I'd like to win one of the bets for once. You definitely fit in with us. Izuku replied with a shrug. Welcome to the Calamity Cult, Kori-chan. Opera was still disappointed. The school paper got sold out or set on fire, so they couldn't get the latest scoop. It didn't take a genius to know something happened, but for the love of Devi, they couldn't figure out what it was. Even Sullivan was at a loss. I still can't place my finger on it. It's like someone deliberately went out of their way to make sure most of the school didn't get a newspaper. From what they could tell, none of the staff were able to procure a copy. Very weird. I guess it's an unsolvable mystery. Izuku spoke in an even tone that got his mother to look at the boy curiously. Oh well, guess it's a shame. It's not like we can waste time trying to figure out who did it. Breakfast is amazing as always, Opera-san. Speaking of, I heard you went to a Demdoll concert with your friends a while back. Kirimu, if I recall correctly. Inko asked with genuine curiosity that was masking a more suspicious and skeptical mind. Looks like she was onto something, because Izuku immediately began choking on his morning bighorn meat. Yeah, it was fun. Nothing terrible or completely embarrassing happened there. Hey, Grandpa, how's the calibration going? Izuku asked, changing the subject at hand. Wonderful. Really thought you damaged it badly with that Pandorula move, but everything is fixing up quite nicely. Well, Sullivan wasn't going to be of any help. At least this confirmed that the young MSTR had something to do with the missing papers. I have to say, have you been using more magic recently? Nothing to be ashamed of, just curious. Yeah, actually. Gakko and Inko gave me an idea about how to use the ring to my advantage so I can go about the netherworld a whole lot easier. He happily responded. The boy went from having no friends to 5. He's grown a lot in surprising ways. Would I be able to use magic to duplicate more demonic features? Well, you could, but you should be careful doing it on your own. Wait until you learn about it in class. The reason we teach the basics to first years is because those who just skip to the end always find themselves suffering due to their own spells. Solvian was right in this instance. When he went to Babel's, there was this student who tried to take him down with a wind spell far beyond what they taught. Said student lost all the oxygen in his lungs. I guess that's a fair point. I still don't know what triggered that transformation during the division party, or why I became a flying rabbit of all things. Isn't your favorite hero a giant muscled rabbit that's always giving creepy smiles of doom to all his enemies? Opera asked the young Midoriya. They've seen the humans work, quite impressive. He is quite terrifying. Perhaps you were just inspired by his foreboding aura. All Might's not a rabbit, and his smile is supposed to be reassuring, Izuku shouted as if it were a sacred mantra. And I still can't believe you prefer his autograph to mine. I'm a hero, you know? Izuku and Inko actually blinked at that one. What? Is there something on my face? Demons have pro-heroism in the netherworld? Izuku asked, curiously. When Amory told me I could be one, I didn't know it was an actual position here. I thought that you were just a principal. With his personality, Inko had a point. Pish posh, of course the netherworld has heroes. Who do you think manages the chaos around here without the Demon King? That would be the 3 demon lords, which is me and my pals of course. Under us are demons far more consistent and important, who run all faculties of the world to help the king when he was in power. The 13 Crows, the most powerful and loyal of demons known. Amory's father, Henry Azazel, is one of them, just as Amaryllis Asmodeus is. Wait, Az's mom and Amory's dad are heroes? Like, legitimate superheroes? I've got to get an autograph. Opera took minor joy in watching Sullivan slump to the ground. The way things worked out due to the Midoriyas always amused him. A slight yelling was heard from the outside. Oh CRP, that's Az and Clara outside, better get going. Izuku rushed out the door. I have a million questions to ask a lot of people today, so better get started. He's going to torture that boy. Inko responded to all of that with a light laugh. Make him suffer, Izuku. Make him suffer. They should grab the Helgri tea. She needed to calm down a little. Izuku, for the last DVDMN time, I will not ask her for an autograph, Asmodeus shouted repeatedly like a broken record. Given Izuku's hero worship, it shouldn't have come as a surprise, but the first time he met his mother, he didn't bat an eye at her status. But I just learned she's a hero. That's super cool. Does she use fire magic to take out criminals, fly through the sky at high speeds, calm and assure people around her that things will be okay? He asked in a manner very reminiscent of Clara, Diamant at all. He was stuck saying her first name now. She runs all of the netherworld's PRSTTN rings, he clarified, and Izuku was sent back with a defeated and disgusted look. I know you have this ideal vision of what a hero should be, but the truth of the matter is that most deal with minimizing the chaos of demon evil cycle. My mother just happens to believe the best way to do that is with promiscuous FRNCTN. And that's why we have an Istucton class, isn't it? Izuku shuddered. You chose this path, you fool. Not his fault Izuku was so sheltered from a horrid reality for years. I need to get Clara to stop saying sexy at any moment from now on. I mean it's good and all to have the option at all. Kori muttered from her seat above them. She joined the Calamity Cult, as the circle of Izuku's friends as a whole were called, though he didn't understand why. Last he remembered, she talked about stabbing Izuku brutally with a knife. Though I mostly joined so I can learn how to keep it all under wraps. Keep what under wraps? Clara asked with her misplaced innocence. You don't have anything to hide. Asmodeus knew what she meant by that, but he didn't clarify for Kori. Nor did he stop her from freezing Clara into a block of ice again. Ah, it's the little things in life that make friendship appealing. He admired Clara in her frozen, appealing silence. Right, Izuku? Sorry, my brain needs a moment to reset from everything. The honor student still looked dumbfounded. Maybe he was a bit too blunt. Being a hero here just got a whole lot more complicated. Alright then, today we'll be going over color type transformations. Morax-sensei spoke from her podium. Ah, yes, something normal for once, and it seemed to get Izuku out of his funk. Maybe nope, not even going to finish that thought. Kako cracked her hips, still hurting from dancing in that big fluffy dress. She would kill her friends at this rate. Seriously, can we have a calm day today? For absolutely sure this time? I don't want any more broken body parts. Unless Clara starts a food fight, lunch tends to be much calmer than most of our day. Az spoke for her, as Izuku was scribbling through note after note. Hey, Izu, you've been pretty buried in your notebook. Well, more than you usually are. Inko glanced over his shoulder. Thinking of another apparatus we can make for the battler? She gently poked his side. He blinked at the poke, coming back to their reality. Oh, sorry, this is actually for my personal magic. Trying to get down the basic spells, thinking of altering my appearance to match the world better. And how many capabilities changing appearance can do for espionage, or camouflage, or making a sword look like a stick, or... He went on and on, Inko being the only one to follow. Wow, that's so amazing. You're really thinking ahead even when you don't have much. Hey, since you're working on appearance, would it be possible for you to turn invisible? I have this theory that color-changing magic works on the light spectrum, meaning it probably bends whatever light's around it. So if we could bend it away from you, we could. I don't know, that seems to take up more light control rather than the application of the spell itself, although if we have it made in a way to constantly match the appearance of what's around us. And there they go. They've done this every time we've gotten together at the Battler. It's like a floodgate being unleashed over an unsuspecting town. Kako observed, exasperated. Inko, I get, she's studying more and wants to be like Izuku, but what's his deal with the muttering? Well, I'm assuming the analysis is from the lack of his own magic, but the muttering itself. The two starred on, both of the little nerds talking like no one else was in the room. I'm drawing a blank in all honesty. Hey, I do it all the time too. You know, Clara piped in. When there's no one else to talk to, you want to say all the words yourself. This finally got Izuku to stop his rant with an embarrassed blush. Yeah, when I was a kid I thought a lot to myself, and at some point it just came out naturally, Izuku said. But now I get to study my own magic, thanks to this ring. He held the envy ring high, as it glistened in the hallway light, and as the dark green mist poured from its body. Wait a second, since when did that happen? Guys, you might want to get out of the way. Yay, Shadow-kun is coming out to play again, Clara shouted in excitement. Time for lullabies. Okay, no, I'm willing to let the creep shoot my own fire at me before you start singing again. Az spoke with a determined look and a bit of fire in his hand. This thing isn't going to go all crazy and take our magic, right? I'm not fond of having mine drained out of me, Kako hid behind him. Guys, calm down, I'm sure there's a logical answer. Inko tried to calm everyone down. This thing just wants abilities, right? To try them out and stuff? Actually, I'm pretty chill at the moment, already felt what it was like to be in their shoes. A voice, unrecognizable to any of them, piped up. I just needed to stretch my head a little. One could go crazy living in such a tiny space. The only possible source for it was the tiny cretin popping out of Izuku's ring, but that couldn't be right. Well, I guess that makes sense. Isolation would do horribly for any weight. I've become way too used to being crazy. This is new even by our standards. Izuku snapped himself back into fear and sanity. Since when could the ring talk, and why haven't you introduced us yet? Kako felt the need to ask. Everyone else was shocked beyond speech. The mist turned to her with an offended look. The hell are you on about, Beach? I can't talk. That would just be ridiculous. The little degenerate called out. Wait, did I just say that out loud? Az, you have free rein to incinerate this butt. Kako spoke with the finality of buying milk. Wait, I can talk. I can talk. How the hell can I talk? How can I think? I'm just magic, aren't I? What is real? What is fake? What is the meaning of life? Apparently, this thing was going through an existential crisis. My screams, my cries of suffering, they've finally taken tangible form. Ah, so scary. No need to freak out, Shadow-kun. Here, have some candy. Clara offered the creature a blue lollipop that it gobbled in one bite. Feel better? Very much so. You really are the sweetest little thing, aren't you? No wonder MDM Midoriya is always teasing the kid. For some reason Izuku got a bright blush. Wait, do I have memories too? I wasn't even out when she did that. How can I remember what I wasn't there for? So are we still on for incineration or, as spoke, a small fire in hand? I'm sure we can figure out another way for you to use magic without a ring, or a ring finger for that matter. Burn me off, and I tell the world about Alice the Demdoll. The ring spoke, as a crowd of Asmodeus fangirls got in close. Alice, one of the performers that sang with Kirimu. You guys know about that hot mystery Demdoll? One of them shouted. Asmodeus, do you know her? Are you dating her? Is she up for a three-way? Dai, unable to hold in his anger, he sent a wave of embers down the hall, not caring what, or who was in the way. Wow, that felt good. I should do that more often. I thought we were past this. Izuku shook his head in disappointment. I actually thought Kachon was here for a second. Az gave an involuntary flinch at that jab. Either way, we should probably leave before, we all get caught with whatever is going on with Izuku's hand at the moment. Gakko got everyone back on track. You think you can shove the SHT back into its prison? That was definitely more bolder words than he expected out of her. It was admirable in a crude way. Hold it, hold everything, I'm not going anywhere. The shroud floated in front of Izuku's face. I finally have the ability to think for the first time, and so I'm taking advantage of it. I got words to say to you, mister. Izuku looked defeated, already consenting to the monster's demands. Is there any empty classroom close by? Izuku was writing in his notebook while the rest of the gang made sure the empty room was secure, and the table was set up. Alright, so let's get some key points down. You want your name to be Lizzie, right? That's right, feels nice and right to me. And you being anything before you attempted to, quote, choke out the beach senpai, is just instincts and feelings, like seeing something and wanting it for yourself. More like experiencing their shoes and their lives, while they lose theirs, but yeah, that's how it was. And you hate me because, again, quote, I SCK butt at using magic with my mind and treat it like a cobble-potted hammer, right? You got it all in one, nerd. Great, he went from ending Az's Kachon-like qualities to having a mini-me version glued to his finger. I go through all the trouble taking all those glorious bloodline abilities, and you just spit them back out like they're wads of paper coming out of a straw. Hey, Izu doesn't like to just take them without permission. It's not his fault you make yourself seem like a super invasive power. Aiko tried to defend him. Plus, he rarely needs to use them at all. He can get by just fine with magic alone. Says the bloodline-less beach who only gets by with obsessive work studies. The hiss generated from Aiko genuinely frightened him. Not saying he doesn't have guts, but quite frankly, the fact he's been able to survive this insane asylum of a school this far has been nothing but sheer dumb luck. Sadly, this was true. Lots of luck went into his survival alone. What about you, Az? Thoughts on the ring? He's been silent for a while as he was just waiting for the information to be given. I just came to a conclusion. Do you remember the rookie hunt? The pink-haired boy asked Lizzie. Yeah, what about it? The mist shrugged. No shoulders made visible cues weird. If that's the case, then it's likely that your ability correlates with Izuku's rank. You were nothing but a mindless animal during his PRD as an Aleph-1, and at Bet 2, you couldn't become aware and gain memories until Gimel 3, where you became capable of conversation. I don't quite understand how this works exactly, but it does leave us something to work with. Thank you, Az, for being observant and sane in this PRD of need. Basically, we just have to rank Izuku down and you vanish away. Problem solved. Are you insane? Both Lizzie and him yelled at the same time, though Izuku continued on. I did not get almost eaten by a bird and blown up by a crazed senpai just so I can go backwards. I just barely made real headway with my ambition. Calm down, I'm sure there's a way we can work on getting rid of the ring while you keep up your rank. Gakko tried to suggest. Have we considered the skull saw? Can we not cut off any limbs of Izu? Inko asked loudly, practically reading his mind. Please, listen to the girl. Why do we have to get rid of Shadow-kun? They could be super fun to play with, Clara all but shouted. Yeah, in fact, I can help Izuku-kun. The smoke paused, looking like it gagged after saying that. Yeah, help him with his magic. Make him better than he is now. I mean, look at him. He's so uninteresting and boring. So plain-looking and completely unnoticeable and unattractive in every conceivable way. Get on with it. Inko and Clara spoke, with his mom's scary voice. A lot of people were learning that real quick in all honesty. Maybe he should take a shot at it sometime. My point is, Izuku-kun is a sore thumb that I can heal quickly and painlessly. In fact, he can start with me. The smoke turned to him. You remember that spell during class, right? Cherishil. Transformation? Well, yeah, we were doing notes and stuff. I used magic on a frog. It turned black like Morax Sensei did. And that's what I'm talking about. The smoke suddenly shouted, interrupting him. Magic is not some structure or form that can be controlled with a simple language. It's a state of mind that believes these words hold power. You only turned it black because you expected the frog to become black. It didn't grow spikes because you didn't think of making spikes. Strong magic and strong imagination together can form things beyond the laws of any realm. Everyone sat in silent awe, taking in Lizzie's words easily. Now then, try me. I'd rather not be a smoky beast anyway. Give me some long legs, horns, nice assets. It floated in silence with eyes closed, waiting for whatever he gave it. Oh, all right. That wasn't too strong to imagine, at least in theory. He wasn't the most imaginative person in the world. He never came up with a more creative hero name for himself beyond All Might Jr. At least with Lizzie's description, it gave him a more precise image to work with. Cherusel. A small flash of light took place, before toning down and revealing the result. There, is that good? Lizzie was now in a costume that was mainly blue and orange, with a fleshy whitish brown where the legs were. They had blue horns and long blonde hair, and a mask where it covered a single eye on their face. Really? You went with Mount Lady? She was the last hero I saw before moving here. Wait, this confirmed that Lizzie was aware of his own memories from before the ring. Great, another person now knew his secret. It's not a bad look on you. Izuku's right. I think the big melons bimbo look is a great match for you, Lizzie. Gakko spoke with a surprisingly vindictive smirk. Ever since the concert she's been on edge. He should fix that eventually. I'm more concerned about the scale model of someone supposed to be called Mount Lady. How big are we talking here? As asked out of curiosity, the other girls giving a glare for some reason. Get your minds out of the gutter. Regardless, now let's try you. Let's go for some creative clothes, boost up that imagination. He was right. Right now was the perfect opportunity to finally show his friends the kind of do not just poof yourself an All Might hoodie. I said creative, not creatively bankrupt. But and it's, fine. Great, there goes every idea he had in his head. Why don't you try some other clothes that you've already seen? Inko asked. Isn't that ruining the point of creativity? Az answered with a raised eyebrow. Izuku-kins can do it. I make games all the time, so this should be no problem, Clara encouraged him. When I get in a rut, I think about how everything was when I was a kid, and everything I've ever wanted to have for myself. Is there anything you ever wanted as a kid? That actually made him think. He did recall one design he made for himself for a future hero Sona, but it was not one of his best works. Maybe that was a result of not actually believing he could be a hero, thus not deserving a costume. Either way, it would hopefully appease the thing inside of his ring. He just needed to adjust mental size along with a few touches here and there. Cherusel. Amory was having a minor crisis ever since the concert. Yes, her first Demdoll performance was amazing, and she would cherish it till the end of time. But it was the arrival of 5 unknown and spectacular performers that sent her head through the ringer. Specifically the leader of the newest troupe, Izumi. The same face, the same freckles, same hair color, even their names were almost exactly alike. But that couldn't be the case. He wanted to be a hero, one that saved people with a smile. Except they were smiling. The entire dome was in uproar of happiness and laughter. The joy could barely be contained. From how Izuku described his dream, this was everything he could have hoped for. Is he? No, that's silly. He couldn't actually want to dress in frilly outfits and do girly dances in front of others. But being a Demdoll accomplished such an important task in the netherworld, so it wouldn't be improbable. No, he's sweet, charming, and has more guts and dexterity than anyone I know. He couldn't possibly be a frilly pervert. This definitely wasn't the case. She even hyped him up to her dad, even if the man got the wrong idea and tried to murder the boy mere seconds later. Maybe there was such a thing as too much hype in some cases. Izuku would never dress up in something so silly. Obviously, this was just a random demoness that looked like him, or another human if worse comes to worse. Or maybe it was a long-lost sister or cousin. She could reunite them. Maybe she could get closer with that bond between them. Maybe enough to get introduced to his mother and get her blessing. This wasn't working. She needed to clear her head with a patrol. Chorusil, she heard the cry of someone casting a spell in a room that was supposed to be empty. What? She ran to the door, testing it once to find the thing locked. Empty classrooms should not be used by students carelessly, she shouted, forcing the locks off with sheer force as the door went off its hinges, and she quickly regretted being strong enough to do that. Because it didn't prepare her for the insanity that she came across on the inside. It was the entirety of the magical apparatus battler, minus Izuku, at least from first glance. The battler hardly noticed her, because they were all staring at a strange figure that stood before all of them. The figure was in a long green tracksuit with white stripes across. It wore large white gloves and black sashes across the elbows and knees, also adorning bright red sneakers that were only matched by the red belt around the waist. It had 2 green horns sticking out on top of its mask, along with a white respirator that had a tiny black slash pattern running across it. It looked like a large, smiling green bunny. Amari? Izuku? Lady Red Hair? MDM President? Amari CH-chan? I threw away my normal life at the division party, didn't I? She could only stare at him, a new picture coming to mind, and it was slightly better than the first. I see, you're in your experimentation phase, aren't you? It was still weird, but better he be a furry than a cross-dressing pervert. Being around quirked humans and demons probably made him curious. Amari-san, it's not what you think. He sounded worried. No need, she knew how to keep a secret. Nobody knew he was human after all. But isn't this everything you've ever wanted to be since you were a kid? Velak asked him. It was nice to see he had a great support group for himself. He deserved it after all. Izuku as a pet. She didn't like the look the blonde girl gave him. It felt weird, even more when she blushed harder after looking in her direction. Guys, please stop. Oh, choices like this were always strong to make. Maybe she could make this work for her. After all, couples accepted their significant other's little quirks. It's not scales, but your choice is your choice. You pull it off at least. The dragon girl offered her support as well. I mean, it works, but it looks so tacky. Maybe we can work on the creepy smile. As imputed, sounding more like a designer rather than a disapproving voice. It's not supposed to be creepy. It's supposed to be reassuring. Izuku idly sighed in a defeated tone. This way I can at least attempt to look confident in a fight or troubling situation. If you want a reassuring smile, then you shouldn't hide your real one behind a painted mask. She offered her 2 cents now, patting him on the back. The real deal is much cuter than any cheap imitation. Izuku blinked behind his eyes. Seriously? Thanks. He seemed shy as the blonde let out a gasp of sorts. Regardless, this was a great opportunity. I'd like you all to come to my battler room at once. I've been meaning to speak with you all regardless. Oh, and Izuku, you might want to change when you leave. We don't need anyone hating you for your choices. If they did, then they had 1+ ultra kick heading their way. I'm not. What's the point? No one's going to believe me anyway. The magical apparatus battler is suspended for the time being. How could such an appealing woman crush such a lovely dream? She wasn't supposed to end her future where Inko and Izu end up marrying each other and have 3.5 children with a pet dog. No, a cat. No, a hamster. Yeah, that was good. Where was she going with this again? Boo, red hair lady tries to take Izuku-kin's. Now you're trying to take the battler from us, Clara shouted, being held back by everyone from blowing up the student council president. They couldn't hurt such a hero, even if she was being stupid at the moment. You really are evil just like that butt-hat senpai Amy. Actually, he's the reason your battler is being suspended in the first place, she stated, causing everyone to turn. MDM president, with all due respect, you can't be accounting his actions to the entire group, right? He was a madman that we attempted to stop with all we had. Az spoke with the tiny bit of clarity he had more than the others at times. I can assure you no one else in our battler is attempting mass murder, he turned to Clara. No one here is a serious threat to the school at least. She was silent for a few tense moments. Are you aware that there are 2 requirements to keep a battler open? She asked, as if the rant didn't go off. The first is to have a minimum of 4 battler members be at Dalit 4 or higher. Well, in that case, most battlers shouldn't exist. We've risked our life with that last rank up, and it's very likely to happen another time round, Gakko stated, looking frustrated with the whole situation. At least she understood the importance of the cult. The second requirement, which can be done instead, is to have a 3rd year as the president. She said, why did that matter at all? Of course we do, we have Kiri o Izuku spoke, looking far off into nothing. Diamenet, thanks a lot, Kiriwo, you managed to make me frown after all. The corners of his mouth sank a little. Diamen that Amy, you committed the worst crime of all. Now then, notice I said suspended, not terminated. Everyone turned to Amory. The group will be put on hold for the time being, until you can get 2 things, one of which is a 3rd year willing to join your battler. You're joking, right? Az pointed out, and it wasn't completely out of line. The only people willing to join us are other naive and/or insane first years. Okay, rude. She was definitely not naive or insane. Would someone insane be getting the 5th highest grades in her class? The only other option, which you will have to go through in any case, is to join other battlers and get permission from other presidents. How'd that work? It's unfair to you all, but even before Kiriwo Amy, Izuku, Valak, and Asmodeus have all had infamous reputations, so there's skepticism among the upper years and staff letting you off all on your own. So this is less like a suspension and more like probation, Izu concluded. Sorry guys. I knew that Danger Junkie title would come back to haunt us eventually. Stop being stupid, Izuku-kins. You can't help it when things go bad for you. It's not your fault, Clara defended Izu from himself. Az was stupid starting that first fight. I would have never made friends without you. And everything else here is just mean for no good reason to you. It actually looked like she was about to cry. Yeah, don't blame yourself for being the unlucky son of a BSTRD you are. Gakko shrugged. And besides, it's just some other groups for a short time. How bad can it be? Your grades have noted that you are not remarkable with large amounts of mana or big spell casting, so it was decided that you must join the Black Magic Battler. Amory flipped through a binder, probably filled with a bunch of info on them. Oh Divi, it's bad, real bad, Gakko shouted, panicking externally. See, now she knows the trials of not accepting the Calamity cult. Those guys are a bunch of crazy loonies. I just got used to being around these maniacs, she pointed to all of them. Again, rude. Inko, you have been seen taking multiple photos around the school. Diamenet, she knew that tree didn't have enough leaves. So you shall be joining the photography battler. Oh, well that didn't seem so bad. She could take more Amory pictures in the meantime. Thank you for this opportunity. Diamenet, how come you don't have to suffer like I will? Gakko shouted, frantically scanning the room. Come on Gakko, Kori is in there, and she's a pretty good person. Izu tried to justify. Who? You know, she's oh wait, never mind. I was thinking of someone else. Valak shall be sent to the gaming battler to stretch her creativity. Finally, some actual connection and way to vent her constant need to play. It was weird that Az and Izu had really worried looks though. Yay, those guys are fun. Time to play, play, play. The little girl shouted. See, she got it. Asmodeus will be taken to the new magic battler in order to... She didn't get to finish her sentence as Az, in his most insane act, around the president at the very least, actually tried to use his fire to jettison out of the window. This failed miserably, as he was dragged back in a minute later by a few student council members. "We caught him, MDM president." "Great work, guys." She nodded without even the slightest hint of being put off. "So cool. I'm sorry to say this, but you are one of the most versatile magic users in your year. You could only benefit by joining up with a new magic battler, and their president was rather persistent in having you join. That's the problem. That butt is going to prevent me from being able to take a moment's rest to make sure I'm not being dissected. That sounds like a personal issue. Get over it." And she was funny too, and humiliated as, between Izu and her wait Amory and Izu together. That sounded both right and wrong for some reason, huh? Alright, Az and Gakko hate theirs. Clara and Aiko like theirs. I'm guessing I'm somewhere in the middle? Izuku asked with a head tilt. Amory gained a strange look. It was a mix of serious, amused, and predatory. It did things to her insides she didn't know was possible. Ah yes, the danger junkie who brings chaos and calamity wherever he visits. Leader of the most unruly of students, and always makes a mess. Izuku looked down. She felt a growl in her throat. Don't berate him like that. Hey, stop making Izuku-kins feel bad. Lady Red Hair, Clara shouted. Yeah, voice the opposition. I speak the truth, and as such, it is my duty as student council president to WHP him into better shape. She stood tall, dominating the entire room with her presence. As such, you shall be inducted, to live in the school itself, as a member of the student council. She gave a wicked grin that caused everyone to flinch, mostly in fear, in amazement in her case. Be prepared to wish you were dead for the weeks to come. Izu was getting super excited. His tremble returned in full force. Wait a minute, you just want Izuku-kins all to yourself again. Clara looked like she was about to pull out twin pistols out of her pockets. He already reads to you? Stop being greedy and share properly. Izu reads, to Amory-chan. The image filled Aiko's head, and she imagined what any normal demon would at the thought of that sentence. The honor student serenading the student council president with flattery and poems. Her face was starting to turn red at the thought, from both arsel and confusion. It's just his notes about bloodline magic. Don't think too deeply about it. Az clarified, and her face started to get redder. She was now imagining a teacher-student roleplay scenario with the two of them. Aiko, I'm not in the mood. Do not make me get the ice bucket, Gakko shouted in rage. What's the matter with her? Both Izu and Amory-chan asked, and the thought of both of them giving concern and attention towards her made her bleed from the nose, making her pass out. There was only one singular thought that was ringing through her head as she felt Izu's arm wrap around her, and Amory-chan's voice calling for a medic. How do they feel about 3 ways? Gakko trembled in fear as she approached the doors. She would have run away, but if Az couldn't do it, she had no chance herself. It didn't help that 2 members of the student council were right behind her, because just being associated with Izuku's posse, and by extension, her own best friend, she was deemed dangerous. Stop getting so excited. You're supposed to take this seriously. What? They thought she was getting excited? Why would shaking in fear make them oh? This is karma being a beach, isn't it? She muttered bitterly as she entered the classroom, already dreading the pain and annoyance that she would no doubt experience once she was noticed. The group of robed men and women turning to her surely gave credence to the thought. Who dares disturb the cauldron of terror and mayhem? Oh, the student council. The scary voice completely went away. Sorry, did one of our spells go awry? Was it Crosel shooting off another mutilated voodoo doll? One time, a white-haired girl with glasses yelled out, her robe's hood being the only one that was down. I was in a dark place when I did that. The spell kept blowing up in my face. These people were insane. She would die the moment she came close to them. She tried to take a step back, but the hand of one of the student council members prevented her from making a single movement. Due to the suspension of the magical apparatus battler, you'll be looking after her for the time being, and we'll be giving a report in 1 week's time on her progress and if she would be ready to return. The gray-haired guy spoke super seriously. Oh yeah, that's right. The guys with the crazy exploding flowers. Don't worry, she'll be in good hands. The battler's president waved them off, locking herself within her prison for the next week. Now then. The president turned to her, a malicious grin as they pulled out a plate of black and smoking-looking circles. As initiation, you must devour one of the hexed objects of poisonous despair. She felt the horror welling, everyone looking at her expectantly. So this was it. This was how she would die. She wanted the process to be of old age, but this would have to suffice. She slowly and trepidatiously took one of the circles, taking a bite of it with a wince as the taste of, "Is that caramel?" "Do you like it?" the president asked, suddenly much more chipper. "Yeah, we haven't been able to do anything like this since the division party, and we probably would have done more if Krosel didn't waste her prize on that bag of hair." "It was not a waste, I just need to figure out if it was the real deal," the white hair girl shouted again. "Plus it makes the dolls look more realistic. Can't really use voodoo magic on them now. Maybe his friends will take them as gifts." "Wait a second, we never asked if you were allergic." "Oh my god, are you okay? I'm sorry, our president is a moron. Someone get the nurse, I'll grab the defibrillator." "Do you need water? A milkshake? Someone to do all your homework as you recover." "Oh, your scales are so pretty, do you polish them?" She stared at these absolute morons acting like the sweetest people in the netherworld. Maybe she can roll with this. "Ah, yeah, I do it at least once a week. Gotta keep up appearances and all." "Well, you look very lovely," the president complimented. "We know that you aren't the most experienced with magic, and black magic may sound like a scary subject, but we can assure you it's all perfectly natural. Take Krosel for example. When she joined us, she was a spewing ball of anger and hatred, but since she's joined us, she's managed to channel all those negative emotions into something constructive." "I remember. The black ice curse, right?" Gakko walked up to Krosel with her hand extended. "Weren't you also in the Esducton elective class a while back?" "Ah, yeah, I was. Didn't really take," she muttered. "Regardless, it's a pleasure to meet you. And you came right on time too. We usually start off with a game of spin the bottle before we summon the elder deities in the stars beyond." Wow, that is somehow the most normal sentence I've heard all week. Maybe the Battler exchange was a blessing in disguise. Finally, being Izuku's friend has paid off. The Battler exchange was a nightmare in disguise. She couldn't take 24/7 pictures of Izuku and Amory. She had to divide it up with the whole school. Nothing was more interesting than her two heroes around here. Why would she ever take photos of anything else? Nope, nope, deplorable, all deplorable. The president tossed her entire album into the trash. "You capture the angles right, but you'll never get anyone into photography if you only take pictures of the same two things every day. But you said to take pictures of cute, amazing, interesting, and mysterious things. Clearly I've hit all the categories here." She made a list of everything that helped prove her point. "Izu's freckles are perfectly symmetrical, so that's both cute and interesting. And Amory-chan has that foreboding aura that makes her so unapproachable. What's more mysterious than that? And they're both heroes of Beyblades. That's amazing." The president stared at the girl for a solid minute, before putting their head in a spare pillow and screaming muffled profanities. "Look, I get that this wasn't your choice, but you were chosen to come here to cultivate your talent in photography. If you want to get back to your precious stalkering, then you will take at least 20 photos of anything that is not izukumidoriya or Amory Azazel." "They're not stalker photos, even my camera can agree with me." She took out a camera with wings and legs. "Tell me, do I stalk Izu and Amory-chan?" "Yes, please, for the love of Divi, kill me. I'm going to be sick if I see another shade of green or red hair," it screamed in Morse code. "See, it's just fine. End me pussies. I don't care what you call them. Take 20 photos, or I'll make sure you spend the rest of the school year photographing someone watching paint dry. Take it. That's heaven compared to the hell I live in." "I got it. Grab some pictures, and then bring the useless ones to you." "Oh, I bet Izu looks dashing in his student council uniform. I should check him out right now." DMN you all. This was amazing. So many new games to play. She had to play and test all of them for her and Izuku-kins and Az and Icestring and Dragon Lady. "Calm down, crazy lady. You're still a bit infamous here after the last time you tried to join," Lied-kun told her. "You're lucky the student council paid for the damages, otherwise you'd still be banned." "I came here before." Clara didn't remember anything like that. Surely a room of games would have stood out more. "You broke the TV." "Oh yeah, that was a fun game. That's also when Izukins got us to join the same club. Ah, that was a good time. Fireworks and boom and Izuku-kins being happy. If only I could get him to forget about bakugou and Amy. You could also stand to remember the faces of everyone you're going to be around for the next week or two. Everyone waved to her with frowns on their faces. Boo. If Izuku-kins were here, he would have come up with a complicated and crazy plan to make them his friends, or Az would attack them and Izuku-kins would protect them. That method was super effective. You could at least offer us some juice or chips to compensate for everything. The president muttered, though she stopped them with a pillow to the face. I'm not making anyone snacks. If they want to be my friend, they'll have to play with me first. Clara put her foot down on that. Izuku-kins taught me that you don't give stuff or be nice to jerks, otherwise they'll think it's okay to stay jerks and use you. Everyone was silent for a bit before the president lady came up. You're absolutely right, young one. Gaming isn't about the reward of getting something. The true essence of gaming is joining together with others and sharing your joy with the people around you. After all, if everyone is able to have a fun time, then no one feels miserable or angry to even get into an evil cycle. Wow, these people say complicated words too, just like Izuku-kins. Hey, you're all funny, let's start playing. I'm thinking of something with spiky shoes and this spiky ball chain thing. She pulled out said object. Izuku-kins called it a flail once, and started spinning it around. What should be the prize for the winner? Aside from living, they shook just like Izuku-kins too. Ha, he would have loved it here. Oh well, she'll have enough games for him once they get back together, and then she'll save him from the clutches of that red-headed harpy and blonde snake. Asmodeus hid behind the couch as the psycho president tried to rush at him. This was the one moment in his life where sadly, Izuku was right. Fire wasn't always the answer. If it wasn't for his prestigious title before Beyblades, his reputation would be nothing but being an angry scoundrel and thug. In some ways, meeting Izuku was a major lesson in humility he needed. But right now, he was more inclined to ignore all the progress he's made if he could set these BSTRD ablaze. For the last time, I don't use my fire for pointless CRP like this. That was the only lesson he tried to keep at the moment. Come on, just make us some fire please. You can set me on fire if you want. Your magical fire could cause so many chemical reactions it's astounding, said President shouted, very intent on getting the fire one way or another. Besides, it's the president's command. Make fire. Why did he make this difficult? On one hand, burning the fool would probably kill him, and he was literally asking for it. On the other, he was giving him what he wanted, which was the last thing on Asmodeus's mind. Dude, chill, what's wrong with giving a little spark here and there? Jazzandros spoke to him. Right, the thief helped the new magic batter get third at the division party. Because right now it's a spark, then it's a kindle, then it's a blaze. The moment I fold and give in it will never end. Besides, you're just in it for the money, so you're even worse than the president at the moment. Asmodeus pointed out. At least I'm motivated to actually get up and move my butt here. Andro spoke indignantly. Yeah, I have my own goals, but it gets progress done. What have you done other than complain? I could realize that the 3 on the blackboard should be a 2 or you result in a laser rather than a beam. With that the 2 paused, turning to see he was indeed right about the spell. Sure, he didn't have Midoriya's level of practical analysis, but he viewed his knowledge of magic very generously. What? I'm not helping. Just stating the obvious. Wow, you're a whole lot to deal with, you know that, right? Andros scoffed. I don't know how Izuku does it every day. It's because I'm the sanest in the group you but well besides Gakko, she was a blessing. How I go about with my friends is none of your business, and like you actually care, you turn almost every action of his into your own personal slot machine. I do it for fun without actually meaning anything by it. Izuku's the most interesting guy in class. Heck, he joined the last one, as did you. Diamenet, he couldn't argue with him there. I don't fully get the friend thing, but he must have nerves of steel to deal with your CRP all the time. Asmodeus flinched, looking away. Yeah, nerves of steel. More like titanium, except the sad truth was that Izuku was far from invincible. Unfortunately, he was distracted with internal moping, so he couldn't see the tackle coming his way. I'll get that fire even if I have to squeeze it out of you. He was inclined to give it all, but the past minute made him pause. If I agree to 1 torch's worth, would you stop pestering me for the rest of the day? The smile on the man's face may have rivaled Izuku's. Absolutely, a quiet day for the rest of today. I'll keep everyone silent and busy. Hey, don't I have a say in? Andro was cut off by a chemical sticky solution being thrown at his face. Asmodeus couldn't hold back the snickers. Huh, the peaceful route strategy actually works. I really have to stop underestimating Izuku's ideas. This also probably meant he needed to act nicer to Clara too. Nah, he wasn't there yet. Baby steps, as you'll get there eventually. I can't believe I actually miss his brand of madness. This week can't get over fast enough. Izuku missed his time waking up after the Pandrila spell, because that was less tortuous and painful than what the student council put him through. Yeah, he practically tore apart every part of his own body with magic, but that was his choice, and he got to save the day while doing it. This was just cruel and unusual punishment. For starters, being a part of the student council meant he had to live within the dorm system that apparently always existed at Babely's, and wake up at 4:30 every morning, and be expected to make his bed perfectly within a minute or face brutal lashings from his seniors. If he didn't dress in time either, more lashings. It just stacked with every morning activity until he was sure Kachin would have given him Stockholm Syndrome by comparison. And after being forced to tame his naturally unruly hair by tying it up in a bun, he had to practice the student council salute in front of MDM president, or in some cases, Sir. Amory had no patience for casual conversation during work hours, while making sure to say it in sync with the other members, otherwise they were subjected to 150 push-ups to make up for it. Then after that there was the morning jog, where Amory unleashed a bunch of chain chop-looking monsters on them for an hour and had them race to a finish line. This exercise, in all honesty, he considered the most tame, as Clara's games of tag often included similar sharp and pointy objects chasing him around. And as a bonus, his experience actually helped him win his first race. Amory upped the running to 2 hours after that, and then he truly hated the fact he won for a change. Then there was paperwork. So much paperwork. Towers of papers being moved from one section, double reviewed, sent to another section, triple reviewed, then sent to the president, who stamped or tore them up in the blink of an eye. Then there was running the proper paperwork to the proper classes and staff, before running back to the student council office to repeat said process. It was this PRD where he was grateful to both God and Divi that he was gifted with analysis. Of course, being in such a high position, the council often had regular meetings with the staff and teachers, which went along pleasantly enough, barring the intense glares of Death Kaligo-sensei whenever the two crossed paths. Obviously, Izuku's promotion didn't alleviate the man's hatred for him. Then came patrols, which involved helping teachers deal with their psychotic machinations, giant plant monsters that wished he was their lunch, specifically him because their noses smelt his true nature, and fighting unruly students who threatened others. Thankfully, reputation alone helped him survive, as everyone was scared of getting the wrath of the danger junkie on them. The worst part, though, was the isolation. He couldn't see any of his friends, his family. Hell, he would have taken Lizzie, but she hadn't shown up since Amory abducted him. Amory was somehow even able to keep Sullivan from seeing him for extended PRD of time, exclaiming how he shouldn't be spoiled. It was at that moment Izuku realized just how much he'd enjoyed his grandpa's doting, and that maybe he's taken it for granted. All of this he was contemplating as he sat with the other council members as they ate their lunch, a single red bean. Okay, I've grown used to pain by this point, but what's the deal with the small lunches? They help one build character and show both restraint and appreciation. Spoke the only other female in the student council, a purple demon named Smoke. Personally, I would have gone with a grain of rice, but Amory said that was going too far. Well, I've had my lunch stolen and burned to dust for years. This isn't that much different, I guess. He accepted reality as he swallowed his bean, not even bothering to chew. Yum. I gotta say, I half expected you to be complaining and being downright defiant, but you're taking it like a champ. Johnny, a demon with blondish green hair, sat next to him. You're a lot less affable than your reputation says. Grave, a demon with a half and half white and black hairstyle, adjusted his glasses. Of course he is. MDM president wouldn't have invited him into the council if she didn't suspect he would have what it takes to join our ranks. I humbly admit, I find myself ashamed for initially doubting her judgment. He gave a slight bow from his seat. And no need to apologize. Grave-san, I perfectly understand. The rumors wouldn't be what they are if I knew how to handle problems and situations better. He waved his hands widely. Well, at the very least we won't see any more chaos around you, right Midoriya? Johnny asks with an impish grin. He would have answered, until he noticed something out of the corner of his eye. A bear-like student with a crazed look in his eyes about to attack someone. He moved without thinking, jumping from the table. Hey, what the hell are you doing? Think before you. He didn't know who was trying to reprimand him, nor did he have time to accept it, already getting in front of the crazed-looking demon and cradling a small creature on the ground. Oh boy, this was going to hurt. Stand down, Amory's voice was heard, along with a loud smack. Looking up, he noticed the student council president's right foot now resting on the demon's head. We were supposed to guard this student today. He just started his evil cycle. She pointed out to the other members of his new battler, before acknowledging him. You got the smaller student out of the way, correct? Yeah, he's right here. He held out his open palms, revealing a purple, one-eyed demon, shaking in terror. I didn't like how close he was to that guy's mouth, and I wanted to take precautions. He held the student close. You all right, little guy? Whoa, I didn't even notice that. The honor student acted faster than Amory. He was trying to protect the little guy. I thought he was a MSCST or something. He really is a bleeding heart. Well, they don't just let anyone in the student council. He's a hero just like Sullivan. You think he's single? That last line brought forth a flinch from Amory. Weird, nothing he hasn't heard before, much to his embarrassment. While I would rather you inform me before you decide to act on your own, I commend you for your quick thinking. The student council is all about maintaining peace and balance. We minimize chaos while encouraging demons to be at their most exceptional. She patted his head, leading him back to the table. A kind, caring, and determined spirit like yours is a natural fit for the student council. Really? A part of him was still a little wary of that. Half of his brain still suspected she just wanted easier access to him for the readings, but now that he thought about it long enough, being in the student council was almost akin to being a hero around Beyblades. Thanks for the consideration again, MDM President. Wow, I didn't expect you to take the job that seriously. I'm impressed. Smoke complimented. Most of us took around half a month before attempting to get our feet wet with an evil cycle assault. It's like it was first instinct with you. Why, yeah, well, when I see someone in trouble, my body tends to move on its own. He spoke, nervously turning away. Don't be shy now, Midoriya, come on, you can have my bean, my treat. Johnny tried to offer, only to be slapped by Grave. No exceptions, not even if it's warranted. Grave affirmed, I see what MDM President was talking about before though. Not many get offers like yours, nor is she this insistent on gaining one particular student. Before, I was a bit jealous, That didn't sound right, but again, this was hell. Izuku looked at everyone, before giving them a bright smile. Thanks everyone. I'm happy to help. A broadcast overtook the school. Would the student council president please report to room 333? Thank you. It spoke in an honestly glitchy tone. Was it broken or something? That doesn't sound like Bathan-sen. Izuku noted his concern. Should someone else go instead? Or at least go with you, sir? No need. Even if it's trouble, I'm more than capable of handling the situation. Amory gave him an appreciated nod. Stay with the others. You should probably get more comfortable around them. She made it sound like this arrangement was permanent. Although, that did raise another question in a head full of questions. Did he actually want to stay? He could do his job here, keep people safe and stop any dangerous students. And going by the praise everyone just gave him, it would probably help him lose the Danger Junkie title as well. He could probably rank up faster this way, get even closer to accomplishing his ambition. But most of the time in the battler was work. Any recreation he had was now narrowed down to reading first love memories with Amory. Come to think of it, it was the only time he's ever seen Amory's softer side. Her engagement and investment in the manga was probably the only free time she allowed herself to have. The girl's work ethic itself was astounding, constantly doing much more than anyone else. Final approval on everything. Does MDM president have any free time barring the afternoon tea sessions? He asked the group. We read and go over theories on bloodlines, but other than that, I've only seen her work. He made sure to keep the cover going. Not at all. She's a woman fully dedicated to the council and nothing else. Graves stood tall and proud to show off his dedication. Babley's has never been a peaceful place to attend by any means. The stories one could tell about the androgynous shadow leader, a delinquent that pulverized anyone in his path, still sends shivers down demons' wings. Izuku wondered what caused Opera to change so drastically. Yes, her work ethic is truly astounding. Quitchelite imputed. It's due to her we've been able to live the calm lives we do today. If I had to pinpoint a reason why I accepted to join, I would say it was because of her. Johnny added, I was just a random member of the broadcast battler, usually just messing around with the speakers, and she just came up to me and asked to join. I couldn't tell you what she saw in me. MDM president has always been like that, going around, collecting weirdos and trusting them to help her. She gave another glance at him. Looks like that's still the case. It was sad he couldn't argue with her, and it was even worse when everyone else nodded. Baraki-senpai came up moments later, out of breath and breathed. Everyone. He spoke, trying to catch his breath. Oh, have you and MDM president already discussed the issue? No, Quitchelite couldn't have been right. The room was too far away for them to move that distance after a long chat. No, that's why I tried to stop her. No. All of the members of the broadcast battler are eating lunch. No. Nobody made the call. No. Somebody broke into the broadcast room and made that false announcement. Get moving. Izuku was the first to sprint from his seat. It's probably a trap, and we don't know what kind of trouble she could be facing. If the situation wasn't potentially dire, he would have been more hesitant about calling out the others like that. But this was hardly the time or place to care about nerves. You heard the honor student, let's find our president, Johnny cried out, and just like that, Izuku found himself leading the student council towards their leader. After running through multiple crowds of students, they finally made their way there, finding a downed Amory with no one around them. Johnny, check Sir's condition. Smoke, make sure no one gets in. Quitchelite, preserve the scene. Grave, go out and try to find anyone suspicious, and try to find any of the teachers if you can. All of them blinked. Well, get moving, or it's your butts on a platter. A tint of green smoke emanated from his ring, but he hardly cared at the moment. Yes, sir, that felt way too awkward to hear. In the future he'd like to avoid being in charge. Thank you very much. They never told us the honor student was scary like this. He heard Johnny utter, though no one disobeyed their given orders. She's breathing, but it's a bit faint. Someone or something caught her off guard, from what I can guess. Diamenet, nothing in the room shows signs of magic barring a faint trace from the president. It proves she was caught off guard, but we won't be able to track down whoever did it. Quitchelite said. Smoke kept the door closed, occasionally peeking out from it. Doesn't look like they left any evidence out here either. I don't think Graves going to have much success finding our perpetrator. Diamenet, this was planned. Far too well, Izuku muttered. Whoever did this couldn't have been a freshman. They would have to have planned for MDM president coming alone based on past behavior. They're either someone with a grudge. That's a bit obvious. MDM president shuts down any thug or delinquent, sometimes shutting down whole battlers. That's got to leave some resentment. Johnny interrupted. Or an over-obsessive fan. Everyone looked at him funny again. Think about it. AIM MDM president is very popular, and this school isn't short of weirdos and perverts who would suffer a kick to the face just for a moment of touching her. I mean, I wouldn't put it past someone to drug MDM president and either do things to her or drag them back to their lair. If that's the case, I'll castrate them and their livers. Smoke went on as if it was common sense. But this is a bit much, putting in the work of knowing distance, when the battler would be gone, and being aware of how little time they'd be able to do anything with. Then they would probably want something specific, something that they could do around this time and can only get from her. The rambling session was cut off by a groan, all the students seeing the unconscious president coming to. Amory-san, he was hit by Smoke and Quitchelite for the misspeak. DM. MDM President, are you all right? Johnny helped her stand on her feet. She seemed a bit dazed, standing a bit wobbly, but something about it was off. It didn't look like it was from grogginess, but shyness? Yeah, I guess I'm fine enough. The president stuttered. Odd, but it was most likely due to her condition. Can I get some new clothes? Her red horn ears were pointing down like opera did occasionally in disappointment or sadness. I feel a bit exposed. She covered the bits of skin her uniform showed off. A uniform she's always worn with confidence and without shame. MDM President, he made sure to correct himself this time. Why you doing all right? Why you aren't hurt or anything? And no, just embarrassed. I got caught off guard. I'm terribly sorry to trouble my precious friend's lie like that. I should resign right now. Everyone in the room had the same thought, barring Amory herself. Who the hell is this? Izuku, please, from now on, always call me Amory. We never have to be formal W with. She couldn't finish her own sentence, covering her face and blushing wildly. Seriously, who the hell is this? Caligo stared down the student, the most recent bane of his existence, even if they came from the shared family. Why is it always you that drags up trouble? I don't drag in trouble, Caligo-sensei. I find trouble brewing and do my best to help. Okay, that sounded a bit more spiteful than usual. Amory-san was attacked and hit with unknown magic. Now's not the time for pettiness. Barely a week in, and the boy already had some nerve acting like they were equals. Know your place, but you're right, he stated plainly. Begrudgingly, he admitted Midoriya made a good point, so at least he was learning to actually think for a change. Time was of the essence. Magic of the mind never ended well if left untreated for long PRD of time. The sad part was Midoriya was the calm one, and it wasn't just a matter of the other members having less composure. That smoke girl has been seen punching a wall for a solid half an hour. Grave was standing still, frozen in his saluting pose. Johnny was growing more and more hectic, going through every ounce of paper and books their battler had to offer. And the Quitchelite kid was just being a general moron, panicking in tears. I have the results, Ismorak said, for some reason blushing when she looked his way. Such an odd woman, but she did her job well when it came to the basics comprehension. Her memories are completely unaffected. She fully recalls her previous personality, but at the moment, it seems to be sealed off. So, you're saying whoever did this, they just locked away a piece of her own mind? Midoriya gritted his teeth, obviously distressed. He was asking them questions, proving that maybe, just maybe the brat actually learned something after Kariwo Amy. Yes, the spell itself is quite complex, but it's not meant to last long. Think of it like a badly knitted sweater like an amateur. All of these lines that make up her emotions are tangled up in a specific way. Whatever confidence she's gained in her life is now blocked by her insecurities and worries being brought to the forefront. Insecurities? The group questioned like a pack of morons. Did they think she was invincible or something? They should have known her the longest. Interestingly, it was Midoriya again who held himself the strongest among the rest of them. I see, so if it's temporary, then there shouldn't be any problem letting her return to classes. The others looked stunned by the idea. Think rationally, you fools, like Midoriya. That thought made him feel both pride and sickness at the same time, mostly sickness. Morax responded. Yes, actually. It would do her well to return to her regular routine. Her regular schedule should help her original personality resurface a lot sooner. She nodded. Just try and treat her as she usually was to help with the return as well. Azazel herself finally stood up. You've been through so much trouble because of me. I'm so ashamed. I'm sorry for being so scary all the time. No, MDM President, it's fine, Midoriya confronted her, and he returned to his normal shaky demeanor. Was there some sort of SWCH with this kid? Thou thought we agreed you'd drop the F formalities, Izzy-kun. The student council gaped at the president before turning to Izuku. I can't call you anything else while we're on the job, MDM President. He was interrupted by the smoke girl dragging him outside. We need to have a serious chat, she screamed at him as Midoriya looked completely defeated. If this wasn't so annoying, he'd smile at his misery. Oh, what the heck, he'll smile anyway. He had a distinct instinct that told him he should do it while he could. Kamui despaired. No matter how much effort he shoved into it, he wasn't able to form his Bachelor of Women's Studies. He only had one student willing to join, no one else. Thank you anyways, Grand Mstr-kun. Why didn't you tell me you and the president were so close? A passionate scream of curiosity echoed through the halls, and he saw something that made him both give a thumbs up in congratulations and burn with intense jealousy. Izuku was being dragged by his collar by an upperclassman, and an appealing one at that. The nerve, he already had 3 appealing ladies within his Bachelor. Did he need any more? It wasn't something she wanted to be public. I promised to keep it secret for her. Great. The honor student now had admirers literally fighting for his affections, by actually fighting him. It was like he was living in a Yandir simulator. And seriously, she hasn't called me Izzy, like, ever. Nobody has. I think the spell is just doing stuff, you know? Do you know how long it's been since I've been able to talk about these kinds of things? Forever. And this is how I find out the president has someone special. You better be treating her right, or I'm going to. Smokey-chan, please, don't hurt him. It's all my fault. A frail, delicate voice whispered its angelic charm in the air as a crowd suddenly started forming around them. Well, that wouldn't do. Luckily his size let him move quite easily. Oh. That was all he could mutter, the president coming out of that room in a very conservative outfit. Her tall and luxurious body was hidden within a body that now adorns the female student uniform. The normally demanding and tough Lady Amory Azazel was whimpering, pulling out sad eyes as her ears pointed down. The tsundere was now pulling off the shy cute girl act. And it was glorious. This must be memorized, incorporated in every cell within his brain. He could even hear a camera clicking next to him. Turning, he could see the blonde-haired girl from his earlier thoughts, Inko, taking pictures with starry eyes and a nosebleed. Ah, women of culture, so strong to find these days. I am mad, Izuku struggled to formulate his words, but a chop to the head by Smokey-chan made him straighten out. Amory, you don't have to follow us now. You can head back to the dorms and rest. Nonsense. The president pouted ever so adorably. My precious Kohai needs me, regardless of my condition, right? Oh, come on. What kind of debaucherous acts does he do for her to get her to do this? I don't want to be a burden. I should just. No, you're never a burden. Never believe that. The honor student used his nice guy charm and clasped her hands. You're hurt now, so we should be the one taking care of you. Of course, spoke the dirty blonde that came out of the room. We can do it all. We'll stop any and all students who would dare to tarnish your name. 2 more upper years followed him. No matter the state, you're our president through and through. The half and half-haired students supported them as they gave their salute. This made the lovely angel spread liquid happiness from her eyes. I have the greatest friends in the netherworld. She used all the strength in her heavenly body to lift them all up in a hug, one that caused a large cracking sound. She may act dainty, but she still has the strength of a mountain. He heard from the group. Lucky BSTRD, why couldn't that be his spine? Even the blonde looked put off. No, she passed out a few seconds ago. Weak. She probably hasn't even fantasized about the bedroom. The time of the student council's rule had finally come to an end. With that beach of a president indisposed, now was a time for party and fun. Sure, word around the block was that she roped the honor student into her little task force. But like that guy was actually a threat to them. He was more likely to let the carnage carry on as long as possible. What danger junkie could resist? All right, boys, I think this calls for a drink. They cackled as they kicked a vending machine, the glass breaking apart. Today it's the vending machines, tomorrow it's the cafeteria. Eventually, the entire student body will know we're calling the shots now. They cheered, tearing apart the sodas, some even eating the metal. This is life, boss, one minion called out. We'll have the whole school as a playground to do what we like. And best of all, no one is actually crazy enough to try and stop us. Ah, what about teachers like Caligo, or even the chair demon? The nerd trying to spoil their fun was met with a chair to the face. Shut it, loser. They'll be too busy cleaning up the mess they won't even have the time to stop us. Why do you think they gave the student council so much power in the first place? Yup, with the teachers busy they'd get to be free, as long as they weren't directly in anyone's gazes. Excuse me. The gang turned, being met with a tall mop of red hair on a dainty-looking woman. "Ah, that's rather mean and rude of you to do. I'd highly appreciate it if you'd stop, if you want to." "Amory, don't give them the option." Another mop of hair was noted, more messy and green, and quite a bit shorter. "You don't have to go out and do everything exactly like you used to now. It's a process." "But you guys need me, right?" she asked with a pout. The other student council members, he now noticed the uniforms, flinched. "I can't just let you all deal with trouble without trying to reason with it. I'm all for reasoning instead of fighting, but there's a time and place for that kind of stuff." Wow, things must really be going to SHT if the danger junkie had to take charge of the group trying to protect the school. "Look, you guys have one chance. Either stop and clean this mess, or we won't hold back." One of the idiotic guys went up with a laugh. "What are you gonna do? I've heard the rumors. They say you've never used offensive magic once in your life. Again, I am so sick and tired of people assuming they know the real me before they actually meet me." He growled, adjusting the ring on his right hand, twisting it like it was a dial. "You assume me not being offensive means I can't. Wrong. I just refused, until now, that is." The kid reached into his pocket before pulling out a handlebar. How the hell was he going to? The leader's thoughts were cut off as said handle turned into a flaming tornado sword, and cut that moron strong enough to launch him through a window. "Either leave now or I'll make you." "What the hell? That can't be right. That looks like Asmodeus's bloodline." Most of them rightfully cowered. Even if they were bold, even they weren't crazy enough to take the Asmodeus name lightly. "Hee. I don't need my friend's magic to copy his skills. I'm in charge of the magical apparatus battler. I can make whatever I want for any situation." He sent a fire above that just barely grazed past their heads. "Now clean this mess or die." "I don't think I can pull another act like that if I tried," Smoke heard Midoriya utter as they finally settled down for the day. "It's way too tiring being that intimidating all the time." "Hey, you have an easy job. You want to deal with 15 stacks of paperwork within half an hour. Be my guest." She groaned, falling to the ground, along with her papers. "Still, that was an impressive facade you just pulled. Where does that come from?" "An old Fry associate. That's how he was to me most of the time." "Ouch, sounds like a real handful. Are we still this far behind? How much of the workload does Amory do on her own?" 13 times what she gives us on the daily, so yes, very far behind. If it wasn't for your fear tactics, that fight would have gone even longer." Graves spoke, also looking quite winded. "Again, you've surpassed my expectations. I could only imagine how much planning had to go into it. It's much easier than interacting with Amory's new personality." Midoriya shuddered. "I've interacted with so many terrifying women in my life that a genuinely nice one with no hidden tactics just hits me the wrong way internally. I've been sleeping with one eye open subconsciously." "Wow, that doesn't sound healthy, or safe, or, well, it just sounds wrong for anyone in general to think like that." Quitchelite summarized, and she agreed wholeheartedly. While it irked her that Midoriya genuinely found the president scary, it wasn't without warrant. This is what girl talk was for, to make sure you weren't screwing it up. But the kid has a point. I miss the old president. She made school so much better. We have so much to deal with these days, but it's all for her. Regardless of her personality, nothing can compare to the president's smiles. Johnny remembered fondly, as did the rest of them. Their president was adamant about trying to be like her old self, that she went through the daily schedule, even if she wasn't the commanding force she used to be. "She actually let us sleep till 6:06. I can't remember the last time I did that," Smoke recalled, and her body was grateful for it. "The tea session she had for us was great too. The president had a whole setup for them, filled with some of the tastiest danishes she's ever had. What was even sweeter was her and Midoriya eating together at their own table. The decorations are lovely." Quitchelite remembered seeing them all over. "And the way she stamped was so cute." The group immediately sulked over. "This isn't our president," they muttered in despair. "Have we still not narrowed it down?" Midoriya muttered. "I assumed we'd pick something up by now." "No luck. There haven't been any suspicious characters or other attacks of this nature. Just some random items stolen from other battlers, but none of them have a connection," Johnny pointed out, And Izuku actually held his head in thought. What was there to think about? Well, it could be him. That guy would benefit the most from the president being down for the count, not just the student council itself. Grave thought up. The tone of voice made her realize who he was referring to, the rosy BSTRD. Him? Who's him? The honor student naively asked, and she couldn't help but feel jealous. His brain was untainted. Wait, where's that music coming from? That didn't take long to remedy. Quitchelite rushed in with the rest of the gang, and sure enough, they were treated to the greatest blight to ever taint the student council meeting room, and probably Beyblades as a whole. You, it was you. Okay, who exactly is this guy? Izuku asked out loud, with him and the other members spotting a tall and tan student. His horns were long, and the scorpion tail was on edge. The demon in question stood in a pile of roses. You know, like a moronic beach. No, don't ask him, he's just going to. Smoke was far too late as the idiot in question pulled up a long couch carried by two demons that were spreading rose petals all over the room. He moved his pelvis around, making sure every demon in the room got an eyeful of the show-off. Sing. My name is Ranov, he shouted. Ronovi. The weirdo in question began a song that was just about hyping up his own name. Oh, so Clara isn't the only one that does musical numbers. The honor student idly muttered, like he dealt with it on the daily. Poor kid. So what's the sane version while he's doing that? The boy asked, gesturing to the whole thing. Meet the president of the disciplinary battler. They're basically us, if we had no dignity and SCK at everything. Quitchelite answered for him. They pretty much made the battler for street cred alone, only doing what will make them look good in everyone's eyes. How can two battlers with the same motive exist at the same time? Seems like a big waste if they just do the same thing as the other. The kid didn't know half of it. I haven't even heard about them until today. Ranov just wants the attention, and said he'd only join if he was made the president. Smoke muttered. Meaning that since our president is down, he's the most likely culprit. Are you sure about that? Izuku kept being skeptical as the musical began to wrap up. He doesn't seem like the type to plan ahead for anything. He's a moron, but he's got a niche. Ranov is a Hay 5 despite being in his second year. Johnny clarified. Luck can count as a skill around here, as unfair as that is. Oh, so I have a negative skill. Lovely. Midoriya grumbled, as the song finally finished. Okay, Ranov, was it? What are you doing here, and do you have anything to do with Amory's condition? Ranov barely noticed their newest recruit's presence, but once he did, the Dichi did everything he could to keep the boy's attention all on him. Oh, another admirer, and a kindred spirit to boot. Ranov would be down to share some tips as your Rono-senpai. He grinned. What the kindred spirit? Quitchelite would be freaking out too if someone ever did the same to him. What makes you say that? Because you are. You grab everyone's attention, you see the spotlight, and you can't help but put it on all yourself. My personal favorite stunt was that lovely flower you bloomed into existence. If they didn't get to know the kid within the past few days, they'd probably be agreeing with him. Well then, as a kindred spirit, can I ask why someone as Midoriya looked like he was swallowing something bad? Talented as you is doing here? Of course, my little Rono Kohai. He patted the kid's head, and the thought of him actually teaching anybody made him sick. Ranov paused, looking at his own hand in horror. Oh my Ranov, conceited much? I touched a boy for 0.3 seconds, he shouted, hitting the ground. Ranov-sama, the girl shouted, shoving petals on him. After a big pie was forged, the man came out, sparkling once again. I'm not even fazed. The kid sighed. You were saying, Ranov? Ah, yes, my little Rono Kohai. It pains me that such talent has been gobbled up by the cruel and grueling student council battler. Your light has dimmed just by being in their presence, but fear no longer, for I, Ranov, shall take down the council by tomorrow's end. He spotted a now entering MDM president, and ran past them to face her face to face. I challenge Amory Azazel to a battler disillusionment. What? You BSTRD, you know those decrees can't be taken back, Smoke voiced all their concerns. Exactly, so many have had their ire stoked by the student council, but none are as bold as Ranov to take up the duel. And with our dear lady president no longer the shining symbol of support for the school, Ranov thinks it's about time we retire the student council altogether and let the disciplinaire battler have its time to shine. Hello there, Midoriya here, a bit uncultured. What is a battler disillusionment? Well, at least it wasn't as bad as not comprehending the plant BLD maintenance. Seriously, that's basic biology. If a majority of students feel that the current student council president is inadequate, then it will be decided by vote when challenged. It just so happens that this guy did so first. Grave explained for the kid. Guess that makes sense. The student council, while given power, is ultimately just another battler made up of students. They just happen to have the most competent demons handling everything. Midoriya concluded himself. That sounded about right. But if it's diplomatic, then wouldn't that require him to actually have people who want his battler in change? Ranov is no moron. With MDM Azazel as weak as she is now, he gestured to the quiet girl in the room. Ranov has a list of people who agree that Ranov is the most spectacular choice. He pulled out a list larger than his whole body, unraveling and rolling on the ground. Enough signatures have been gathered to initiate the dissolution, and Ranov will come out on top, because Ranov is Ranov. DMN it, those are all the people we've beaten up or shut down. Quichelite growled at the list. Exactly. Ranov couldn't do anything about it before because, like or not, Miss Amory's standing was absolute, but now that she's nothing more than a dainty little flower. He grinned creepily at their president, actually having the gall to wrap a strand of her hair around his finger. I suppose once it's all said and done, Ranov will appoint you as Ranov's personal secretary. He gave a sick chuckle, raising the strand of hair towards his lips. Don't you dare, you bass, was the sudden cry of the entire battler, save for one, before a large smack was heard, and a pity cry of pain came out of Ranov. What, Midoriya? What do you think you're doing, you DMN sick lunatic? His voice got deeper and menacing like before, green smoke rising from his right hand as his face darkened, his eyes hidden by the shadow of his hair. Touching a woman without her consent, mocking her vulnerable state. It's BSTRD like you that make me ashamed of being a demon. The honor student held a vice grip on Ranov's offending appendage as the show-off sank to his knees. You couldn't come off as more of a creep if you tried. Ranov didn't know how to respond, other than with whimpers of pain and shock. Even his little lackeys didn't bother to help him, out of fear of the green-haired boy. I realized I've come on a little strongly, and I probably seem rather rude. I shall take my leave from here. Izuku did nothing to change his demeanor, but he did let go. Ranov shall take his leave and prepare for tomorrow. The disciplinary battler said nothing more as they hurriedly ran out with cold sweat across their faces. Midoriya's face then returned to normal, except a bit drained and a little horrified. I told you I couldn't do it twice. I feel so stressed. Just let me crawl in a hole. He spoke, falling to the ground. What are you talking about? That was awesome. Smoke forgoed formality and raised the kid back up on his feet, giving him a nudge on the back. It's those kind of guts we'll need if we're going to beat that BSTRD. FCK, yeah. Everyone turned and glared at him. I mean, heck yeah, you totally jumped in before I did, Midoriya. He would have a broken hand if I got a shot. Indeed. You actually had the backbone to do what we wanted to do. Grave got in on the action as well. With the president in less than ideal conditions, we're going to need that same fiery spirit. And no, that was just a fluke. I just acted without thinking again. I'm sorry for. He tried to apologize, but Amory, standing straight for the first time since the spell, placed her gentle hands on his shoulders. Amory, I think what you did was incredible. Thank you, Izzy-kun. The president smiled like some sort of holy thing. He needed to brush up on his imaginary creature studies. Please stand by me. I don't know how much I can take. He stood straighter, despite his nervousness. Of course, I'll do my best. He nodded. So what do we need to do now? Graves spoke this time, his deep voice intimidating all. What we need is to delve into a deep evil. One on a conceptual level after we gained the ability to think. A truly dark and twisted playground of lies and propaganda, politics. So even the netherworld views them as a bad thing. Comforting in a way. We're gonna die, aren't we? Midoriya asked. Sad thing was he wasn't sure he could disagree. Graves stood in seriousness as the pillar of their group, while they watched the scene before them. So remind me why I'm looking at the sparkling man, he heard the new Kohai, Midoriya, ask. His bloodline ability is charisma. He can get anything and everything to look at him. That would allow lots of aggro draw, and he also has perfect calming power to a panic situation. Maybe he could. Izuku paused his muttering. He has that as a bloodline yet still wants more attention. It was understandable. Pride and ego did insane things to a demon. Are you kidding me? I was born with none and this guy has it as his main magic. There's definitely a higher power out there telling me to go screw myself. What are you talking about? You're always gathering everyone's attention. Quichelite ruffled their recruit's hair. Dueling Asmodeus, Cutthroat Valley, the food fights with Valak, the division party, etc. Why do you think Ranov called you a kindred spirit? Regardless, his ability doesn't instantly make people like him, just draws in their looks. The rest is on Ranov. And unfortunately, the man is DMN good at his job. Graves spoke as they watched the man make insane promises and appealed to the demonic student's insanity. I know we're given the power to do a lot, but he can't actually enforce half-days and vacations, can he? Ranov makes no promises, but he will try all of these ideas to make sure one of them sticks. What Ranov does promise is that Ranov as a president will be a spectacularly fun time. Ranov. The crowd cheering answered Midoriya's question. I wouldn't be half as scared if. They turned to the current team of MDM president, Smoke, and Johnny on a stand. They weren't doing so poorly. Hey, well. Their president was on a stage, and she really struggled to form the words, but she couldn't stop herself from tripping up and spilling her notes. I'll just go over the school's budget, and oh dear, this was a mistake. She looked like she was on the verge of tears. Don't cry, we know you got this. Fortunately, there was still a loyal band of students in the school still supportive, but the numbers were draining fast, especially with Ranov's charisma drawing more and more to his side. Smoke groaned, rubbing her head. This is hopeless. We're going to be the pity vote when the challenge actually comes around. Without MDM president's confidence, there's little we can do to draw the others in. All right. Midoriya mutters to himself, slapping his own face. You're a demon. You've got this. You can work with this. You can do what needs to be done. You can play dirty. He looked resigned to himself. All right, we need a smear campaign. Smear what? The others asked with tilted heads. What in the 9 rings was a smear campaign? You have politics, but you don't have. This world doesn't make any sense. That was sorta true, but now he felt a bit insulted. If we can't use Amory's image to grab their attention, we need to get everyone to notice Ranov in the worst possible way. What are you talking about? The guy's a personality magnet. Quichelite sighed. Any attention is good for him. Not exactly. You said his bloodline doesn't force people to like him, right? They all nodded. So, if we start getting everyone to notice all of his flaws and faults, then no one's going to even want him or his battler in charge. True, but he blindly appeals to the masses. How are we going to work out something that goes against a motive as simple as what morons want for their daily lives? Smoke asked. Quichelite raised his eyes. I have a fun little idea in mind. They were originally in the broadcasting battler after all. They knew how to run news. Good. Now we just need people to notice us to get the ball rolling. Midoriya twisted his ring and held it high in the sky. Midori Rapfire, green flames shot from the ring, recreating the fire flowers from the festival. Genius, now they were actually getting somewhere. Things with Ranov were going marvelously for Ranov. The crowds cheering Ranov's name were music to Ranov's ears. Ranov knew how to gather the hearts of his fellow students, and Ranov's would be DMN if he disappointed them. Sure, Ranov wasn't actually certain anything he said could be accomplished, but who had the time to keep something like a promise? Best of all for Ranov, nobody in the silly student council could ever compete with him. There was nobody who could even compare to his charms and his beloved charisma. Then Ranov felt Ranovoice vanish, and felt a cold emptiness within himself, an absence of sorts. Ranov glanced around, trying to find the thief of Ranov's appealing command, until the fire flowers went off again. Everyone turned to the call of Midoriya, the Mino Ranov, who was standing there nervously. Ranov turned to his companion, who nodded and used her ear magic to allow herself and Ranov to listen in. All right, what's the plan? Midoriya asked the dirty blonde one. I was going to say it needed time. Just stall them. The blonde spoke quickly before running off. This is your territory. You have their attention. Now keep it. Right. Ha, how naive. Ranov's little kohai may have been spirited, but one had to know what to do with the spotlight they took in order to use it. All the more Ranov needed to teach him once Ranov took over. Hello, students of Beyblades. I am the honor student, grandson of the chair demon, student of the misfit class, tamer of the valley guardian, bloomer of the rainbow tree, and the one who sent fire flowers into the sky, izukumidoriya. But today, I come to you not as any of those, but as a temporary member of the student council. Student council? The danger junkie joined those stuck-up guys? I thought the calamity cult was more fun. Well, with the president out of the way, I guess he thought it would be fun to take it over before it was shut down. Makes sense. Ugh, again with the rumors. The boy whispered to himself. Why so glum? Any attention was good. I know there's a lot of you who doubt the power of the student council. Over the past few days, our esteemed president, and my close friend, Amory Azazel, was attacked with unknown magic. It shook up her confidence, and she appears to not be the invincible symbol of support we all know she is. Then throw the beach out. At that request, Smoke pulled out a spear and tossed it 3 feet from the student's pelvis. Continue. That's the thing with symbols. They appear infallible. They appear indestructible. They appear like they already know everything, that they have everything covered, that all there's needed to solve a problem is to appear with a smile on their face to tell the world I am here for you. All my life, I've waited for that kind of symbol to help someone like me. Someone that knows what it's like to be weak, to be stomped on every day, hopelessly waiting for a hero, a symbol, a simple hand to help me back up. All right, the kid had some guts and was getting a semi-decent crowd. However, he was no Ranov. There was a lot of trepidation among the students. Ranov knew this wouldn't last. Sympathy wasn't a demon's strongest trait. You had to grip them with their wants and longing, the things everyone says you can't have, therefore you must have. But that was an ideal, an unrealistic, unattainable ideal. Everyone looked especially confused at that. The thing we must remember is that our symbols of hope, of strength, of peace, they're not born, no, they're made. They're built over time with dedication and patience. Amory Azazel has been working 10 times harder than anyone ever has at Babyl's. She's fought tooth and nail to maintain peace. Tell me, any one of you, when has she ever failed her job before today? When has she ever failed to be there for you? No one raised their hands or voiced their thoughts. Diamenet, the kid had a point. Ranov could only do this because it was the only moment of weakness she's ever shown before. Exactly. You've all put your hopes and trust into the student council, into Amory before, and the moment she needs a little help herself, you leave her out to dry alone? No, he was playing the guilt card. Even charisma had a strong time working against that. I promise you all that if you give us your support, if you continue to put your trust in the student council, you will see Amory back in action and better than before. The student council promises to be better than ever before. Back where I'm from, we have a saying about never being complacent, and that's to go beyond, plus ultra. You? Everyone turned to shout. The girl running away from that dirty blonde, no wait, she was running at Ranov. I can't believe you still have the nerve to show your face after what happened. She ran up and slapped Ranov. Weird, what brought this on? The disciplinary battler said they would protect me, but they just ditched me the moment that a camera didn't show up. You ignored your job just to look famous and left me in the hands of that creep. Wait, consequences were actually a thing. Hey, how can we expect him to save us if he's just going to ditch us at a moment's notice? Yeah, the honor student raises a good point. Amory's never failed us before. Doesn't everyone deserve a break every now and then? But she's not as fun. She's still cuter than him. I rather stare at her mean glare over his crotch every day. Hey, what's this now? Everyone was ditching Ranov. But why? Why would anyone leave Ranov? Konatsu walked with the gals, looking up some pics of Sabnok from his Demon King play. She knew little about the dude before, but ever since he saved them from being crushed, she felt she could get to know those muscles know him. Wow, they've all gained an attraction for someone other than Asmodeus. Oh well, that's how life worked, she guessed. So, were any of you paying attention to Izuku's speech before that girl slapped Ranov? Azuki asked out loud, of course bringing the attention to her first side crush. He really is an innocent hot boy. I thought that was only in fairy tales. Yeah right, innocent. Did you see when he took out those guys before? Super violent and hot. Haruna said with a sultry tone. I bet he's an absolute monster in private. He lures you in with the nice guy charm, and bam, he hits you with all that vigorous passion all at once. All of them shared a laugh. Speech was a bit long, but interesting. Wonder what he meant by that go beyond stuff at the end. Who gives it SHT? You know you guys both have crushes on the same guy, right? And not just Asmodeus, the Devi in demon skin is an exception. Dansanko came up from behind them as she usually did. Does she have some sort of built-in radar for these things? So you guys are planning to share or fight? Or a mix of both? They might have been inclined to fight with the Greystock, but both Azuki and Haruna just gave each other uncomfortable looks. Great going, Greystock. A girl's talk was supposed to be fun and not focus on little things like reality. Guess it was up to the third wheel in this conversation to pick something else to talk about. Aha. What's that over there? The girls all looked over to a poster on the wall, showing off Ranov with a mustache on his face and something written on the poster itself. Warning, eats puppies? Azuki screamed out loud. What the heck, that's just insane. Not even the danger junkie would do something like that, Haruna squealed. This is the guy people want to replace the president. Screw him. I don't want anyone who eats cute things in charge of protecting me. What if that's his goal? To replace Amory Azazel and start taking out every cute girl in the school one by one. She herself was quite freaked out. That cannibalistic monster. We can't let him get away with this. Yeah, for the MDM president and her appealing bounty, shouted Dansanko, riling up the girls in question. If anyone's devouring cute demons, it's going to be me exploring several NTMT and seemingly disturbing fantasies. Yeah, for the puppies, Azuki shouted with a vengeance. For the muscular and strong Amory, Kanatsu shouted with feminine fury. Danger Junkie invited Pink Fury to group chat. Danger Junkie invited Sugar Rush to group chat. Danger Junkie invited Hopeless Stalker to group chat. Danger Junkie invited Bowser's daughter to group chat. Pink Fury, what are these names about? Danger Junkie, Lizzie picked them. We're keeping this on the down low. Don't ask me why she chose each one. Bowser's daughter, so should I be flattered or offended by mine? Danger Junkie, flattered. Very flattered. He's pretty popular where I'm from. Danger Junkie, yeah, as a supervillain XD. Danger Junkie, Lizzie keeps popping out and taking my phone. Sorry. Danger Junkie, not really. Bowser's daughter, you know what? I'll roll with for now as an idle treat. Danger Junkie, that's the best way to go with it from my experience. Danger Junkie, so everyone enjoying their battlers? Pink Fury, okay, I know you're mocking me with that. Danger Junkie, I'm mocking you. I have had to deal with 3 hours of sleep for the last 6 days. Do not say I'm mocking you. Danger Junkie, you pompous pink BSTRD. Sugar Rush, ha ha ha. Shadow-kun is funny online. Danger Junkie, yeah, that was totally Lizzie. How about you, Clara? Doing well? Sugar Rush, yep, I'm playing the sit still outside while we fix your mess game right now. Bowser's daughter, you sweet summer child. I'm doing well. Right now we're playing Attack 4. Korori's in the lead by 5 games. Danger Junkie, I figured you'd like each other. She hated my guts too before we were friends, so you two probably had a lot in common. Bowser's daughter, I never hated you, I think. Oh, Kori asked if you'd like a non-cursed voodoo doll. Apparently she made like over a dozen of you and doesn't know what to do with them now. Hopeless Stalker, I'll take 10. Danger Junkie, sure, go for it. Danger Junkie, lol, that's just hilariously desperate. Danger Junkie, desperate for what? Pink Fury, are you blind, Izuku? Danger Junkie, no. Danger Junkie, yes. Super Rush, can you separate yourselves? It's getting strong to tell who's who. Danger Junkie, middle_finger, how's this for your favorite smoky beast? Hopeless Stalker, I can think of a few more appropriate images. Hopple Stalker, smiling_poop. Pink Fury, very appropriate. It's probably like looking in a mirror, huh Lizzie? Danger Junkie, middle finger, so rude, and here I go to help. Danger Junkie, speaking of help, I need your guys' help. Danger Junkie, I need you to try and find the person who put mind-altering magic on Amory. Danger Junkie, now I know you're all busy and probably doing very important stuff. Pink Fury, done. Sugar Rush, done. Hopeless Stalker, done. Bowser's Daughter, in a few. Danger Junkie, this went significantly better than anticipated. Pink Fury, Izuku, you should begin to realize that I've figured out that your brand of insanity is that path of least resistance compared to everyone else. Pink Fury, plus I needed to head out anyway. My president wants me to find some guy who required ingredients for a mind spell. Sugar Rush, I'm going cause this sounds like a fun game, and I'm getting bored hanging around here. These guys don't smile the way you do when we play kicker spike ball and murder party. Sugar Rush, and they want me to find some guy who wants a game about alternate personality. Hopeless Stalker, I'm going because I love you. Hopeless Stalker, because I find you cute. Hopeless Stalker, because I want him our ag. Why is the autocorrect so DMN torturous? Hopeless Stalker, because I want to find the guy who wanted photos of a cute Amory a few weeks back. It was one of my favorites and I need it. Hopeless Stalker, for research. Pink Fury, what kind of? Hopeless Stalker, research. Bowser's Daughter, and I'm going cause I'm the only person to realize that you all figured out who the villain is. Danger Junkie, are we allowed to get meta here? I thought that was just the allmakes. Pink Fury, what's meta? Sugar Rush, the super beyond place where people on computers have fun all around. In canon, I call it Tsukaima. Bowser's Daughter, should we be concerned? Danger Junkie, nah. Hazzard, Overflow, and 616 Miku are going to make us forget this part by the next scene change. Lizzie blinked as she watched Izuku put away his phone, forgetting the last couple of texts. That was weird. Regardless, now she could focus on more important things. So when are you going to embrace one of them? Getting her MSTR to be a proper demon? By Divi's sake, he was swooning in them. Anymore, and having a HRM would be the only route that didn't lead to bloodshed. What are you talking about? None of them like me like that. Izuku-kun said with complete honesty in his voice. It's taken me this long to get comfortable talking with girls. I don't want to push them into something uncomfortable. Oh, Divi, you are blind. Did you not see what that Inko chick was doing the entire time? No one autocorrects that badly, if you could even call it that, which you can't, because it clearly wasn't. Would you stop that? I have a question to ask you anyway. Oh, now there was something fun to do. Let's stretch this out. Oh, do you need my help? What's the magic word? Izuku-kun? She asked with a teasing voice. Is it please help me before I seriously consider chopping off my own finger? You're close. It's please, oh great Lord and Savior Lizzie, please lead me on this divine path and grace me with your knowledge. I mean, the more I think about it, maybe Az was onto something with that rank down. Little SHT, she would burn down the pink-haired BSTRD if it was possible, but the collar on the ring very much limited that line of thought. All right, ask away your question. How does the curse on Amory work exactly? And is it possible for me to remove it with the ring? Wow, for such a dense, innocent child, he sure thought about girls a lot. Maybe a byproduct of only ever talking to his mom on Earth. Already thinking about your side piece? My, you're quite the danger junkie after all. What would Clara think? Aren't you the envy ring? Why are you so obsessed with romance? Because you get to have friends and relationships while I'm stuck to you for all of eternity. And if I come out, they'll dissect me you hear. With probes, she used shadows to generate a small UFO construct to prove her point. Is that why you started hiding when Amory showed up? You're hardly the weirdest thing around here. Yep, your friends are unavoidable since I started to talk, but nobody else gets to know about me. Tell your Gramps and he'll think the council drove you insane. Cue the maniacal laughter. I'm the evil voice in your head. Yeah, I think you're underestimating how much he loves me. Izuku-kun rolled his eyes. We'll put a pin in it for now. Now, my question. Right. It makes sense you came to me. Magic must know magic. Lizzie spoke, stroking an invisible beard. Izuku stared unimpressed, the uncultured swine. Now then, the tangled sweater metaphor is spot on. It would normally just unravel without any problem. He nodded understandingly. I'm assuming there's a butt coming. You're a butt coming, she snickered. Ha, the little bits of joy. Anyways, from what I can tell, most of the magic blocking her brain has worn off, but there's still one single thread left, preventing that sea of confidence from flowing out. Well, why is that thread staying while the rest leave? Izuku asked with a surprisingly cute head tilt. It's because it's stuck on a rock of sorts, which is what Amory wants. Some subconscious part of her wants to stay like this, and it's preventing that old self from coming back. Lizzie explained like the spectacular teacher they were. Why would she want to stay like this? Oh, I don't know. Why would the strong, confident, workaholic second-year student in charge of protecting this entire loony bin ever want to stop being said workaholic second-year student? But according to Az, that would just be stress collected in the evil cycle. He froze, finger on his chin. SHT, there he went. Where did she leave the earplugs? Did the curse interact with an evil cycle about to enter a wicked phase, creating a mutated variant? Seriously, they had to be somewhere. Look, mental magic affects everyone differently. We're all like snowflakes or fireflakes around here. The point is, Amory probably has her own reason for why she's like this. Maybe some part of her likes being the dainty shy nice girl always getting dotted on and protected by her knight in shining green hair. Izuku paused at that. First love memories. He walked over to the volume out on the table. It was supposed to be their little reading session today. Haruko, the dainty, shy, nice girl. She's imprinted, replicating maybe. She was so curious that the stress and the personality magic merged to create some sort of fantasy for her to live out. There was a whole lot more he was missing, but Lizzie knew getting through Izuku's thick skull would be a long effort, so she just shrugged. Yeah, pretty much. Even the strongest of us have our own little fantasies to escape to. No problem, we just have to bring her out of this fantasy. He froze, turning to Lizzie with a terrified expression. Please don't tell me I'm her Kakeru. She would have answered, but the door was opening, so Lizzie merely shrugged and flew into the ring, leaving him pale and horrified. Worst case scenario, Izuku wouldn't be able to break it himself, but he was also very likely to get his first embrace that way, so it was a chance she was willing to take. She couldn't believe it. She was wearing something so provocative. This is what she usually wore, of course, but it still felt wrong. How many eyes laid on her bare skin? Her Izzy-kun must have thought she was some sort of harlot for letting herself be this exposed. Although, from his breathless expression, maybe it was a good thing. If it was for him, then maybe it would be worth it. Amory, you're in your uniform again. Yes, I am. In uniform. Very much so. She was blushing strong. This old uniform, which is mine. Her legs were becoming jelly. I'm the student council pressy. Oh, I can't do this. This is horrible. She sank to her feet, curing herself up in a ball. I don't know how I did that all the time. It's so exhausting and stressful. There was a sigh as a blazer was handed over to her. Absolutely, public speaking SCK in all honesty. She could hear Izzy-kun say to her. But you're amazing because you can do it. Oh, her Izzy-kun was always so thoughtful, even when she knew he was lying. Thanks for the compliment, but there's no need to fib. She wrapped herself in his blazer. It smelled like fresh Helgry tea, her favorite. I know I'm a wreck just getting in everyone's way. I'd be better if I just crawl into a ditch and die. Izzy-kun placed his hand on her twitching hand. What? Was Izzy-kun actually going to confess today? How you feel, Amory, is how I felt for almost all my life. Unlike you, though, I didn't work as strong as you did. I got told I was useless, then I believed it. I never tried because I truly believed it was that way. I felt so pathetic that I once thought of taking a suicide taunt seriously. What? Who told you that, Izzy-kun? Who told you to kill yourself? I will wring their necks on a meat hook and drag them across pools of lava and... She was shaking him violently. Oh dear, she was too forward. I'm sorry, Izzy-kun, she cried, holding him close to her. You've suffered all your life and here I am complaining about the little problems I have. No, get frustrated, come back, dang it, he sighed. SWCH topics. Don't downplay your worries, Amory. It doesn't matter if it's big or small. If something bothers you, you don't have to pretend to be strong. I'm here for you. We all are. I don't know how you do it, Izzy-kun. How was it that out of everyone, it was the cute little human, a creature that should have been rightfully terrified of her, that is terrified of her, gave her the most reassurance. I don't know how you stay so positive with such bad things happening to you. She clasped his hands, ignoring his blush. So why don't we stop it? The bad things? We can just step down and enjoy school life together. Amory. No more student council. No more needless responsibility. We don't even have to care about ranks anymore. If you're right there beside me. She leaned a little forward, feeling his breath. Then I know everything will be okay. Is that what you're willing to settle for? Amory paused, stopping herself as Izuku stood up. If I stop now, all the love, time, and support people gave me will all be for nothing. A few months ago, I would have given anything for a life without stress, without hardship, without having to try so strong just to live. She listened silently. He now took her hands instead. She watched intently as he went on. But because I tried and went through them, I became better and stronger than I was before. I know that rushing into danger all the time isn't the smartest thing to do. But I don't want to live a life where I don't give more than what I have. I'll always give everything that I am, even if there's nothing left to give. That's what going beyond means to me. She sat in awe at his speech, taking in his words like water. Going beyond, do you really think I can do something like that, even if I'm stuck like this? It's just your personality that's changed, Amory. You're still the student council president everyone loves. Love? Izuku loved her? Why, yeah. low love. She was slipping, Diamenet. Why was this so Diamenhar? Izuku brought her back into his embrace. I'll be there for you, I promise. Yeah, she responded, returning the hug. I promise too. Smoke barged in. President, we lost track of time. The debate is about to beg. She noticed the pair hugging, body twitching violently. You found a real keeper. I'll leave you to your business. Please, take your time. It sounded too bitter for it to be actual support, but that wasn't the pressing issue. No, 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 they both shouted at the same time, trying and failing to correct their mistake, not that she felt like it was one. It wasn't like that. At least Izuku and her were more in sync with her new personality. There could be a silver lining to this after all. Ranov looked over at the mixed crowd. The lies from everyone have Ranov boiling in anger, but Ranov was better. Ranov was above scrutiny. Ranov was above the jeering and the accusation of eating puppies and babies. Now people assume Ranov was some kind of cannibalistic monster. You couldn't get more un-Ranov than that. Here we go, everyone. Each president shall give their debate, and then everyone gets to vote. The crowd roared in excitement as the announcer yelled in a mic, standing in between the two of them, as Ranov and Miss Amory were placed between two rising podiums. You both have 3 minutes to say your piece. Good luck. Ranov cracked Ranov's neck. The first move was Ranov's, the challenger. Ranov placed a hand on his face to prevent any leaking charisma. He had to build it up properly, release it into the audience all at once and force their attention all on him. Greetings, my beloved Beyblies. Ranov will save you all from the dread and dull curriculum that those pesky student council members have forced you to live by. Just know, with Ranov in charge, above all else, it'll be nothing but pleasure all the time. Ranov released his magic as Ranov's lovely assistants unleashed petals. Works every time. Does that mean you'll be serving puppies in the cafeteria from now on? A completely un-Ranov bird demon opened his trap. Ladies don't like it when we kill cute things. And are the allegations that you're a womanizer completely true? Like how you only date people if they have a slight resemblance to you? A blonde succubus asked. That's not charming at all. And are you aware that you come off like a total dichi? A white-haired demoness indignantly asked. How dare she mock Ranov? She should be glad Ranov actually managed to spot her in a crowd. She was so un-Ranov. Have you all forgotten? Ranov is a demon. Ranov's lovely assistants are demons. Ranov's amazing classmates are demons, he shouted, charisma on full flare as everything paid attention. Demons should be free to do as they want. Haven't you been told no by the student council before? Hasn't Ranov said Ranov would do his best to provide a more fun time? Yeah, but what are you going to do if someone's about to die from an evil cycle assault? A green-haired Diamenet. Little Ranov was making it strong for Ranov to free him of his burdens. Will you actually step in and save them? Or are you just a Gloryhound wannabe Demdoll out for his next photo album? DMN, the honor student is savage. The crowd slowly started to acknowledge little Ranov more. No, not possible. Ranov's Rana voice was supposed to be Rono perfect. Actually, he blinked in surprise, turning himself and everyone to one of his lovely assistants. It was especially surprising because Ranov has never heard them speak before. Well, besides Ranov. But all living things know the glorious name of Ranov. I did some digging into the girl who slapped Ranov, who turned out to be in a relationship with the one known as Critcholite, a student council member. Curious, no? No? Little Ranov asked. Critcholite, you didn't? Turning to the dirty blonde. You said to make him look bad. The demon in question shrugged. I said point out his bad qualities, not make them up. What's the difference? See? Ranov cheered. Haha, victory was assured now. If the oh-so-special student council isn't above doing whatever they want for what they longing, then why should any of us be restrained? Ranov went on, even as the student council members, barring little Ranov, stomped the SHT out of the dirty blonde-haired one. Diamenet. It looked like little Ranov was about to burst into flames. Maybe he'll set off some fire flowers for his celebration party. Let our shackles break apart into an unrestricted paradise for demon students all over. The crowd returned. The audience's applause was like soothing nectar on Ranov's face. A new era for demon kind can begin, but only if you put your future in Ranov's hands. Ranov, ah, what a magical melody they played out. Now then, it's time for Amory Azazel. You have 3 minutes. This week has been appealing, Schnare shouted in his cave, laughing to himself. All my planning, all that scheming, it has finally paid off. Iligos knew what he wanted in life. Some called him insane, degenerative, perverted, but he achieved his ambitions. He was having the last laugh. With the items I liberated from the gaming, new magic, and photography battler, I've created the ultimate mind magic curse. I can turn the most dignified, appealing, and confident of ladies into a dainty schoolgirl. Oh really? How'd you accomplish that? The magic apparatus battler is always interested in innovative magic. A refined voice spoke from behind. Oh, that's easy, I just Asmodeus, he turned, seeing 4 of the 5 members of the Calamity cult. What are you doing here? Oh, don't mind us, continue with your evil plan ranting. We'll just be here recording your crimes. The dragon demon smirked. And didn't you know? Izukumidoriya is a member of the student council now. He takes offense to people attacking his friends with strange and dangerous magic. The blonde demon fumed. And I don't take kindly to people stealing my precious photos of Amory-chan. Confidence, he needed confidence. Do you really think you can stop me? I'm a third-year inventor. I've created chemicals and gadgets you could never conceive. I shall take you down with my latest creation. Behold! He gestured to a direction, running the moment everyone turned. Well, almost everyone. I didn't look. I won, shouted the Valak girl with a lasso around his body. I honestly can't believe I fell for that, Asmodeus muttered, glaring as fire rolled off his body. Yes, you won, Clara-chan. You get the prize of dragging him back while I collect the photos, evidence. The blonde took his precious treasures away. Oh, I can't wait to tell Izu. Wait, I can take pictures of all of this. Finally, my personal hell has ended. I had to deal with a man thirsty for my fire. You don't get to talk about hell, Asmodeus muttered. How is it that Gakko is the only one to not have suffered? What can I say? Black magic battler sticks together, she smugly confirmed. Boy, can't imagine what Izuku had to go through to actually get involved with a conspiracy. He would have gotten involved even if he wasn't a member. That's just who he is. Asmodeus responded. Hopefully, this'll help him and Amory out of whatever trouble they're in. You mean the vote? The gang turned to the dragon in question. Did no one get told about the battler dissolution between the student council battler and the disciplinary battler? Kori told me that everyone was involved, and one dude ate a puppy. That BSTRD, Velak screamed, pulling out the most complicated-looking handgun he's ever seen. What was with all the quills? Let's kill that son of a... Language, Schnare screamed out loud, making everyone look at him confused. Sorry, force of habit. Don't like innocence being compromised. You're the last person who should ever say that. The dragon girl kicked him in the head. Regardless, I need to vote for Amory. If there is going to be someone in charge, let them be sensible, powerful, and reasonable. As Mdois spoke. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 7. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and authors 616 MCU and Hazzard Overflow on FANFICTIONnet and AO3. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.